All right. We're good. All right. Audio's up and running, and we want to welcome you to 2022 election coverage for Scott County here tonight. I'm Tim Smith. I'll be your host for this evening to bring you the numbers as winners are announced and Scott County chooses its direction for the next 4 years, and in some cases, in the 8th Judicial District for the next 8 years. So a lot of interesting races to go on tonight, and we're glad to bring those to you here on the Independent Herald channel. And it's a product of IH Network, and want to thank those that are participating in it tonight. Sitting to my left, they're off camera, but they're here and they're working hard. Ben Garrett and Kevin Akers, and of course Greg Bond is working our production tonight and keeping us going. So we're looking forward to keeping you informed on this evening. We expect a lot of interest in a lot of these races tonight, and certainly there is a lot of interest. We have a little bit of time before results come in. Our hope is to also talk to some of the candidates who come out victorious tonight and let them speak to you a word of thanks and perhaps a word about what their plans are for their offices and for the future for Scott County as we choose our leadership here tonight. Just some trivia we're going to start with here tonight as a way of, I guess, a little bit of filler, but some things that I find interesting. I'm kind of a political geek that way, so just some of the things that we'll share with you are just some things about the Scott County voting districts, first of all. There are 7 voting districts, and they have varying numbers of voters in them. The largest district is the West Oneida District, the 7th district, and it has 2,008 voters in it. So that 7th district is going to have an interesting night tonight. There's a school board race between an incumbent, which is Derek Sexton, and a challenger, which is Tressa Murphy. Also, the 7th district, longtime representative there, Mike Slavin. He is not running this year. And, of course, the 7th District lost their commissioner, Benny Carson, this year as well. So there's going to be 2 new commissioners tonight. Now, there's not a lot of mystery in the 7th District, as there's only 2 gentlemen running in that race. And so they will be your commissioners after this evening, and those will be Jared Burke and Tom Payne. So that's a little bit about the 7th District in West Oneida. And again, only 2 running in that one. So that race is pretty well decided. We'll call that here. First race we'll call tonight is that 7th District Commissioner race. But the school board, again, is going to be a contested one. So we'll look at that. In the 6th District, as we work backward, the Oneida District with 1,634 voters. In that 6th District tonight, there will be a commission race that finds us with 5 candidates. Both incumbents are returning, Donnie Bolin and Patty Brown, and they will be challenged tonight by Colby Burke, Tori Slavin, and Sean Terry. So a 5-way race for 2 spots for District 6 Commissioner. The school board for the county race is not up for District 6 tonight, but the Oneida Special School District Board of Education race is in full throttle tonight, and there will be 3 seats available with 2 incumbents running and 3 challengers. So it's a pretty crowded field in the Oneida School Board race tonight. The incumbents that are running again, Stuart Jones and Dorothy Hill Watson, will vie for their seats once again. And the 3 challengers are former Oneida principal Kevin Bird, Brandon Ryan, and then Mark Matthews, a former school board member. So we'll keep an eye in the 6th District on that Oneida School Board race. In the 5th District, a couple of polling locations. There's 557 active voters in the Pine Hill region, and in Winfield, there's 1,168 voters. So in the 5th District tonight, you're going to have school board looks. And in the school board, we're going to have 2 candidates vying for District 5 school board, and those are Richard Smith and Angela Anderson King. And then in the commission race tonight in District 5, 1 incumbent is returning. Harold Chambers is not running, so there's an open seat. Paul Strunk is trying to regain his seat on the county commission, and there's 4 others that are vying as well, and those include Kelly Posey Chitwood, Katrina Duncan, Robin McBroom, Logan Strunk, and there you see Paul Strunk, the incumbent. That's your District 5 races tonight. Don't know why I'm working backwards, but that's how I started, so I'm going to continue to do that. In District 4, that's the Helenwood polling location, 1,614 voters in that location. And in District 4 tonight, there is a school board race. Well, there's actually not a school board race. There is one person, the incumbent, Kimberly Kidd, is returning to the school board for District 4 tonight. And then as far as commissioners go, again, not a race. The two incumbents are the only two in the field, so the county commission will see once again Kenny Chadwell and Shonda Gray return to the commission tonight once things are all said and done. So that's District 4. Continuing to work our way through a couple of polling places in District 3, one in Paint Rock that serves 492 active voters, and one in Huntsville with 1,149 active voters. In the 3rd district, there is no school board race tonight, but there is a commissioner race. There are two incumbents. Sheila Buttram and Kenny Morrow are attempting to return to the commission with one challenger, and that's Amy Jeffers. So District 3 Commission tonight will have one challenger for the two incumbents here this evening. Looking at District 2, Elgin has 775 active voters and Robbins 838. And you see the District 2 County Commission race here. One incumbent, you see her listed there at the top, Jennifer Honeycutt Dishman. And then for the other seat, or for a seat, also 4 challengers, Joyce Keaton, Taylor Buttram Stevens, Michelle Story Terry, and Suzanne Veneer. So the 2nd district has a crowded field for commissioner tonight. We have one commissioner from the 2nd district that isn't running for his old seat because he's challenging for another seat. And we'll see him in the county mayor race here in just a few moments. So that's District 2. Then District 1, the Fairview District, 1,849 voters drawing from the District 1 area. And tonight in District 1, they will select a commissioner, and both incumbents are back on the ballot tonight. David Blue Day and David R. Jeffers, you see them in their totals. And then there are 4 challengers among them: Robert Speedy Blevins, Jagger Coffey, Gail Donovan, and Lacey Strunk. So again, another crowded field for the county commission tonight, and that's for District 1. And that is the Fairview District. So a little bit about the districts there. Now, the active voters in Scott County able to vote in this 2022 race here tonight, 12,084. 12,084, you see the total there from the districts. And we will also note that in early voting, 4,236 voted. So more than a third of the active voters have voted in early voting. And I think there were a couple of really big totals that day. I think this past Saturday was the largest day of early voting. So a lot of folks choosing to do that. And we expect to have those results. Some of the first things we'll have probably through the night would be those early voting results. We are here at the county building, and we're thankful for the opportunity to be here. They've certainly taken care of us, given us a good setup here tonight, and the ability to bring you these races live, and we hope to do a good job with that. So let's look at some of these big races, and I'm going to start with the county mayor race right off the top. We have the incumbent, Jeff Tibbles, who is trying to return to office tonight, and Mayor Tibbles has been elected twice in the past to county mayor, but he will face the challenge tonight from, again, 2nd District Commissioner Jared Jeffers. And so that is going to be a race for 4 years to be the next county mayor here in Scott County. We'll see what that looks like. Are folks comfortable, or are they looking for something new? It's always interesting to see the year to year. Sometimes it's just the folks are looking for something new. Sometimes they're pleased with what's going on. So we'll see how that develops here tonight. The next race we'll take a look at is sheriff. Again, 2 candidates running for sheriff here tonight. The incumbent is Ronnie Phillips, and the challenger will be Brian Keaton. Mr. Keaton is the chief of police in Caryville currently, and he is running against the incumbent Ronnie Phillips, who has been elected twice, also served out a term prior to that. So we'll be keeping a close eye on the sheriff's race tonight as it develops. Next, we have road superintendent. There is no challenger for road superintendent, so this is another one of those races that has been decided. Kelvin King will be road superintendent after tonight. You're just looking at those courtesy vote totals. A lot of times as an incumbent, incumbents many times it's nice to have that support, not to see they don't people don't have to vote for you. They know you're going to get in, but they do it anyway, and that's got to be a special feeling. Not one I'm personally acquainted with, but I know man in attendance here tonight, Jimmy Bird, always appreciated those courtesy votes because rarely was he challenged. But tonight his office is open. We'll look at that in just a moment. County clerk, the next race that we look at. The incumbent is Felicia Hamby-Bilbrey. She has served her first term for 4 years, and she is challenged tonight by Amanda Chambers Sexton. So another two-way race here tonight for county clerk. And then next is Register of Deeds. Register of Deeds is another race that there is no challenger in. The incumbent will be reelected here tonight, and that is Ashley Newport Risden. She will be the Register of Deeds for Scott County for another 4 years. We mentioned Brother Jimmy Bird, the trustee office, a long time held there. Tonight, there are two contenders to be the new Scott County trustee, and those are Renee Irwin and Justin Wright. So a two-way race for Scott County trustee that will be settled by Scott County voters here this evening. Next is Assessor of Property. Assessor of Property has a three-way race tonight, and the incumbent is Tiffany Jeffers. She was appointed to that position, and the challengers tonight will be Daniel Murley and Tim Phillips. So a three-way race for Assessor of Property taking place tonight in the 2022 election. All these are 4-year serving offices. The ones we've touched on so far are all 4 years. And we continue on with County Attorney. John Beatty, unchallenged tonight. He is the incumbent, and he will continue to be the County Attorney. And you'll just have to take note of that slide of Mr. Beatty there with the trumpet. I was in band with John Beatty. He does a good job. He plays trumpet for the American Legion and for veterans' funerals. Good guy all around, and nobody challenging him tonight as he will continue to be county attorney. General Sessions Judge, a 4-way race here tonight is going to be decided this evening. The 4 are all challengers, as the incumbent retiring now is Jamie Cotton, and so looking to fill his shoes in General Sessions Judge will be Howard Ellis, Scarlett Ellis, Patrick Sexton, and Andy Tillman. So those are the 4 challengers for General Sessions Judge tonight. That is an 8-year term that will be served. So that is the 8-year term for General Sessions Judge settled tonight. Next will be Circuit Court Clerk. Donnie Phillips does not have a challenger this evening. Donnie will be the Circuit Court Clerk once again, and again, we'll just be looking for those courtesy votes in his run tonight. Some of the other races that are including not just Scott County, but the 8th Judicial District include the Circuit Court Judge, where John McAfee is the incumbent, and he is unchallenged tonight. So John D. McAfee will be the Circuit Court Judge. Also unchallenged for the next 8 years, the office of Chancellor. Elizabeth Asbury is the incumbent, and she is not challenged. 3 other races that do not have challenges, then we'll get to the one that does have some interest to it. The District Attorney, Jared Effler, is going to serve a 2nd term, as there is no one running against Jared Effler tonight. Public Defender, Scott County's own Leif Jeffers will continue to serve in that role, as there is no one running against Leif tonight in the Public Defender office. And then also the House of Representatives. You vote on that every 2 years. People may be wondering why it's just the House of Representatives, and it's Kelly Kiesling that is up for that. So we have one more race, and I think we skipped over it just because it was competitive and we were going over the other ones that weren't. But in the 8th Judicial District, the Criminal Court Judge will be settled here tonight, and there are 3 that are vying for that office here this evening. Those include Thomas Tabor Jr., he's from Claiborne County, Zach Walden out of Campbell County, and out of Scott County, Graham Wilson. So those 3 gentlemen will be vying to be the next criminal court judge serving the 8th Judicial District in an 8-year term. So a lot of interesting races to come here tonight. You've had a little bit of a primer on the totals and the precincts here in Scott County. And so again, like we said, we're awaiting the early totals here now at 8 minutes past the hour of 8 o'clock. And as we get those totals, we're going to bring them to you here on the Independent Herald Network tonight. Brought to you. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. You still have time. No results have been brought in yet. So if you have friends that may be interested in the results for this, we ask you to just share the information that we're out there. We're online, again, by YouTube and Facebook, and we will bring you the results as soon as they come in. I'm Tim Smith. I'll be your host for the duration of the time tonight. We have several folks on hand, Greg Bond, Ben Garrett, Kevin Akers. I can't go anywhere without them. I'm uncomfortable doing so. So the safety blanket here, but I get to be the person who brings you the information here tonight. And we're hopeful to continue to bring you important events, important things. I know some things that are coming up for the Independent Herald channel next week. Several pageants, actually I think they start this weekend, so several of the Fairest to the Fair pageants, county events, are going to be brought to you through this channel, and all of those are going to be brought to you throughout the time in the fair. So be sure to stay tuned for those. And then of course we're coming up on the fall, and a lot of action happening in the way of football, and a lot of interest in the games that are coming up there. So we will be trying to serve you as best we can to bring you the action as best we can. So we appreciate you joining us tonight, inviting us into your homes. And as you could probably tell, I am stalling a little bit right now. We don't have any results, but and we've covered several things, but we do want to tell you that this is something that we're hoping to do more often, and we've got more opportunities to do things. So if you would like to get involved in some of the productions that we do, you just need to reach out to Ben Garrett. You can email him, you can hit him up through Facebook, and let him know that you're interested in being part of some of the things that we're broadcasting as we go forward. Some of these other races, in case you just joined us, I'm just going to recap a few of those. I don't think we had the graphics on all of them as I started walking through them, so we'll take a look more. Again, breaking down to the district level just a little bit. We'll look at District 1. This time I'll try to go in order. District 1 is the Fairview District, and there's 1,849 voters there, and they have a full slate of folks that are looking to be the District 1 commissioner. A couple of incumbents are looking to return to office, David Blue Day and David R. Jeffers. Those are your incumbents, and then you see 4 others that are challenging them tonight. Robert Speedy Blevins, Jagger Coffey, Gail Donovan, and Lacey Strunk. So those are your District 1 Commissioner challengers. And then also in District 1, they will select a school board member here tonight. The school board member is Tommy Silcox, and he's running unopposed. So he will be the incumbent, and he will return to office here tonight. We advance to District 2, another crowded field for commissioner this evening. The District 2 commissioners were Jared Jeffers and Jennifer Dishman. Jared Jeffers is moving on to challenge for county mayor here tonight. He will be going up against incumbent Jeff Tibbles, and so in so doing, that opens up a seat in the 2nd district. And in that 2nd district, it's going to be incumbent Jennifer Honeycutt Dishman, as well as 4 others challenging for those 2 seats: Joyce Keaton, Taylor Buttram Stevens, Michelle Story Terry, and Suzanne Vanier. So that is your 2nd commission slate here tonight. Those folks have 2 polling places, one in Elgin and one in Robbins. About 775 active voters in Elgin, 838 in Robbins. I do see we have some results that are coming in, and as soon as we get those totaled up, we're going to start bringing you these results. I'm assuming this may be early voting, and that is what we're going to be looking at. And I tell you folks, with 4,236 early votes, we're going to learn a lot in this first raft of results that are coming in. Continue to walk through the districts as they get those totals put in. In District 3, commissioners, you're going to have 2 commissioners from each district, 14 total in the county. And the 2 commissioners from District 3 running for re-election are Sheila Buttram and Kenny Morrow. There is a challenger among them, that is Amy Jeffers. So 2 will be elected from the 3rd district here tonight. They do not have a District 3 school board race here tonight. It is not the year for that. District 4, this is not going to have a lot of mystery to it. District 4 is the Helenwood District, 1,614 voters, and incumbents are running. There are no challengers. So you see there on the county commission, once again, District 4 will be represented by Kenny Chadwell and Shonda Gray. And in the school district, it will be Kimberly Kidd, once again, representing District 4 on the Scott County School Board. Moving to District 5. 5 has 2 polling places, Pine Hill with 557 registered voters and Winfield with 1,168 voters. You're looking at the contenders for county commission in the 5th district with live totals updating as we go through that. So these are the early votes coming in right here before you for county commission in the 5th district. This is what we have. Currently, Robin McBroom is in the lead with 214. It would be Paul Strunk. He is the incumbent, is second there with a close follow here from Logan Strunk, who has 147, Katrina Duncan with 142, and Kelly Chitwood at 62. So a 5-person race. But remember, there are 2 polling places here for Paint Rock. For District 5, and they are Pine Hill and Winfield. But what you're looking at is early voting totals. So it's not today's totals from the district. So moving on to 6th District Commissioner. We see Colby Burke leading for 6th District Commissioner, 2 spots available, and incumbent Patty Brown is second with 168. Sean Terry is very close with 155. Tori Slavin 149 and Donnie Bolin with 133. And then in 7th District for commission, you see again the 2. There are only 2. It's going to be Jared Burke and Tom Payne, but a lot of votes there for 7th District Commission. A lot of early voting out of the 7th District. What other totals we have? I'm going to let you take me to the totals in what you feel like is next to talk about as we'll look at those. Just continue to cycle. Okay, we're going to go to early totals for Circuit Court Judge. There you see John McAfee running unopposed with 2,771 votes. And then County Mayor. Chancellor. We're going to go Chancellor next, and that's Elizabeth Asbury with 2,882 early votes. Next up will be Criminal Court Judge. This is going to be Graham Wilson with 2,300 early votes here, Zach Walden with 1,118, and Thomas Tabor with 219. District Attorney Jared Effler, 3,090 courtesy votes in the early voting period. And next up will be Public Defender. And Public Defender is Leif Jeffers with 2,319 votes in the early going. And then House of Representatives Kelly Kiesling. We don't have that one, but so we'll get that when we can. Here's County Mayor, the early voting. And in the early voting, Jared Jeffers with a strong showing, about 500 vote lead here. If we can pop back to that just real quick to County Mayor. It was about a 500 vote lead, 2,400 votes for Jared Jeffers in the early voting, and then Jeff Tibbles was about 500 votes down out of the early votes. Assessor of Property, you see here, Tiffany Jeffers in the lead, 2,174 early votes. Tim Phillips second with 1,639. Daniel Murley at 307. Here is the County Mayor look, and there's the Assessor of Property we've just recapped. So we'll 2319 in the early votes for County Mayor for Jared Jeffers, and 1804 for Jeff Tibbles. So next up, let's look at, I'm just going to follow what you give me here. After Assessor of Property, we're going to go with Trustee next. So this is the early voting for Trustee. Renee Irwin with 2,485 votes, and that is more than a 1,000 vote lead in the early voting over Justin Wright. General Sessions Judge. Here we find Scarlett Ellis in the lead with 1,328 votes. Andrew Tillman with 1,074. Patrick Sexton at 931 and Howard Ellis at 871. So Scarlett Ellis leading out of the early voting. She's got a 250 vote lead, more or less. That's my quick math on that, out of the early voting for General Sessions Judge in that 4-way race. Next up, Sheriff. Brian Keaton with 2,489 early votes. Looks like Keaton's in the lead by more than 700 votes, as the incumbent Ronnie Phillips had 1,712 in the early voting period. for sheriff. So Brian Keaton in the lead by about 700 for Scott County Sheriff tonight as we get things kicked off here about 20 past the hour. Donnie Phillips with those courtesy votes of 3,356 for Circuit Court Clerk. Next up, County Clerk, Felicia Bilbrey, the incumbent in the lead, 2,205 votes to 1910, almost a 300 vote difference there in the early voting as Bilbrey is in the lead for County Clerk out of the early voting totals. Next up, Register of Deeds, Ashley Risden, 3,703. She is unopposed. Next up, County Attorney, John Beatty, unopposed, 3,418 votes in the courtesy column for early voting. County Commission for the 1st District. Jagger Coffee with, Blue Day is 298. And then Jagger Coffee with 253 and David Jeffers with 241. Those are the big totals. Those are tight. Those are close. And that's in the early voting. We have County Commission in the 2nd District. And currently leading is Joyce Keaton and Taylor Stevens right now. Incumbent Jennifer Dishman at 116, Michelle Terry at 159, and Susan Veneer at 20. 2 will be voted in here in a 3-way race. It looks as if Sheila Buttram and Amy Jeffers have the lead after the early voting, with Kenny Morrow with 278 still striking distance for Kenny Morrow in the 3rd District County Commission. 4th District, both these folks are going to get in, and the incumbents are going to return, Kenny Chadwell and Shonda Gray. In the 5th District, it is once again Robin McBroom leading the 5th District, then Paul Strunk. There'll be 2 seats available here. Closely behind Paul Strunk, Logan Strunk with 147, Katrina Duncan 142, and Kelly Chitwood with 62. 6th District, 2 will go in here. Colby Burke leading heavily in this district, and then it's very tight for that 2nd spot right now. Patty Brown is in the lead, and Sean Terry is right behind her with Tori Slavin and Donnie Bolin. But any of those 4, this is early voting, and it just depends on turnout on that one for the 6th District Commission. 7th District is going to be Jared Burke and Tom Payne. We know that as we see these 2 vote totals for those 2 gentlemen. Next up, School Board in the 1st District. Tommy Silcox is going to be in there as he is the only one running. He's got 408 early votes. Kimberly Kidd is in. She's got 424 courtesy votes out of the 4th District early voting. And then we have a competitive school board race in the 5th District. Angela King is in the lead over Richard Smith. And so Smith formerly served, but in the early voting here tonight, Angela King is in the lead for 5th District, and that is, of course, Esther Abbott is retiring from that spot, long time serving in the school board. Next up will be 7th District. Look at that, tight race in the 7th District out of that early voting. I mean, you've got a 9-vote difference between Tressa Murphy and Derek Sexton, the incumbent. So today's turnout is going to be very important for those 2 as we continue to get precincts along the way. Next up, Oneida School Board. So for Oneida School Board here tonight, leading is Kevin Bird with 363. Following him is Mark Matthews with 309. Dorothy Watson is at 300. Brandon Ryan is at 296. Stuart Jones is at 226. The important thing here, 5 candidates. There are 3 spots. The incumbents are Dorothy Watson and Stuart Jones, but the leaders right now, Kevin Bird and Mark Matthews, Dorothy Watson right in there behind them, but Brandon Ryan just 4 votes behind in the early voting. So a very tight Oneida School Board race shaping up. So again, today is going to make probably the difference in that one, depending on the turnout. All right, so you've had a look at all of these. We're just going to cycle through because we don't know when you're tuning in and where we've missed you, so we'll just continue to cycle through. We'll try to do quickly the ones that are kind of foregone conclusions, such as the Chancellor running unopposed, but when we get to these tight races, we'll point that out, and we'll again point out to you that right now, as you see the criminal court judge, that's a 8-year term. And know that winning Scott County does not win this race. But for Graham Wilson, it's very important to win Scott County because this is the home county for Graham Wilson. He's taking care of the home field advantage right here. This is what he needs to do. Will it be enough? Zach Walden's from Campbell County, which is a much larger county, and generally that gives him an advantage. Thomas Tabor is from Claiborne County. And so you see that is the Scott County totals, but that's going to be across the entire 8th Judicial District, 5 counties deciding that, with Union, Claiborne, Campbell, Scott, and Fentress will decide this one. So this is just our little piece of the pie. We don't have the other 4 counties to give you the totals on, but we can tell you that this is what Graham Wilson needs. He needs to have a good showing here at home, but also you should know that he's known pretty well throughout the district. Particularly, he works in Claiborne County. He resides in Union County, so he has some good advantages there. But again, Zach Walden resides in the largest population county, which is Campbell County, and generally that's a big advantage. So maybe we get some of those Campbell County results later tonight and can tell you. Again, this is just early voting too. So today's totals, none of the districts are in and reporting yet. We're thankful to have these early voting totals. Gabe Cron, who handles the elections here in Scott County, does a great job and has been very good to us in giving us the results here early and getting us set up here. And again, we want to thank the folks here at the county building for giving us the ability to come in here and give you this broadcast tonight and try to keep you up to date as quickly as possible. And it looks like we're going to update even more here in just a few moments as perhaps some more results are starting to trickle in. But here in the early going, some of these tighter races, you're seeing cycle through. Here's assessor of property. We had assessor of property, county trustee here, Renee Irwin, early vote leading, and that's a pretty good lead out of early voting when you've got over 1,000 vote lead going into election day. I'm not sure the history. Perhaps if I were a better broadcaster, I would have studied that and been able to say it tonight. But I don't know from the last election what the early voting totals were compared to the same day totals. Just taking a quick look here. I'm looking at School Board District 1. We did have several write-in votes in School Board District 1. She didn't get on the ballot. Sandra Beam did not get on the ballot, but she was a write-in candidate in District 1. Still, Tommy Silcox is in the lead. He's the incumbent. He has 408 votes, but what we don't have is a slide showing Sandra Beam, but she conducted a write-in campaign, and she has 82 votes in the early voting. I know there was another write-in campaign that was for road superintendent, I believe. Douglas McMahon was challenging Kelvin King. The write-in, that's when you don't get your paperwork in time to officially get on the ballot, a huge disadvantage. I don't know that I'm aware of a write-in campaign being successful, but, you know, I have a small window of time to draw from, but I just don't remember one locally is what I'm talking about, a write-in campaign that was successful, and really I'm struggling to think of a write-in campaign that's been successful on any level, but 82 votes for Sandra Beam there in the 1st District. So continuing with the early voting here, County Trustee, we looked at that. It's a little over 1,000 vote advantage for Renee Irwin there. Assessor of property, here's Tiffany Jeffers. She has been appointed by the commission to fill out the term with Jimmy Bird, who retired, and Tim Phillips is a challenger, Daniel Murley is a challenger, and you see Tiffany Jeffers out of the early voting, and she has a lead here of right at 500 plus votes in the assessor of property. And so there were 4,236 early votes. That's what I was getting at earlier when I was talking about, I'm not sure what the percentage is, but 4,236 early votes. And you guys are welcome to help me. Is that how many we're going to expect from the precincts today, or is it going to be a little more or a little less? We have a couple of predictions that it will be just half of that. Now, if that were true, and then we've got the contrarian Ben Garrett that says 70% because he is not going to agree with anyone else. So that's what you're looking at. So if that's true, these totals you're looking at present a large challenge for anyone who finds themselves in any type of a distance right now. You're looking at General Sessions judge. So just for example, in this one, we've got 4,236 votes represented here. So if there's another 3,000 votes out there, right now, Scarlett Ellis has a lead of 1,328. Andrew Tillman is at 1,074. Patrick Sexton at 931, and Howard Ellis at 871. So, this is a race that still anything could happen. That is exactly what I'm saying right now. However, when you look at the totals of the early voting, that's a pretty good gap. Not quite the gap we just saw in trustee for Renee Irwin. That's going to be a big one to try to make up. You've got to really make up some ground in that one because you're looking at over 1,000 votes here. So moving forward, Sheriff, let's take a look at Sheriff here. We've got about a 700 vote difference out of these early votes, 4,200 votes cast, and 2,489 of them were for Brian Keaton. Ronnie Phillips with 1,712, Ronnie the incumbent, but Brian Keaton leading by a little over 700 votes here tonight for Scott County Sheriff. Now that's a large distance. Again, not as large as the trustee, but it's a pretty good gap. It's a concerning gap if you're the incumbent here tonight for Sheriff, as Brian Keaton has a large showing there in the early voting. All right, next up, Circuit Court Clerk. This is a foregone conclusion. No one challenged Donnie Phillips here. That may be 2 elections running even. I don't know that Donnie's faced a challenge. Here's County Clerk. Now, here is a lead of just under 300 votes for County Clerk for Felicia Bilbrey. She's the incumbent. Amanda Sexton challenging. She's got 1910. And so, again, you're counting votes. You're seeing how much is out there. A 300 difference. That's something that you're counting a whole lot on what's getting ready to come in today. Then you've got to look at what precincts. There's home precincts. Which ones are turning out? And the candidates know this. They know, when they look at the totals, how many people came out in West Oneida versus how many people came out in the Robbins district. So all those things going through their minds right now, I'm sure, as we continue to march through some of these results. And we're back to the commission races here in the 1st district. You've seen these numbers if you've been with us before, but if you're just joining us, we want to make sure we keep you up to date and in the loop. And we'll tell you that as soon as we get more results, we're going to pass those along to you. We're 30 minutes past the poll closing here right now, about 40 minutes into our broadcast here, and you're seeing the commission races pop through. Here is the 2nd district, and this is a tight one. This is there's 2 polling places here. This is the early voting for the 2nd district. Right now, with 2 spots available, you're looking at Joyce Keaton and Taylor Stevens in the lead, but certainly striking distance, certainly for Michelle Terry and Jennifer Dishman. They need a good turnout today in this Elgin or this Robbins, and it could be even divided down to which one of those 2 turns out better that can make a difference for a candidate here tonight. So 3rd district. It's a 3-way race here in Huntsville. We're in the home of the 3rd district right now, and there's going to be 2 spots on the county commission. They have been filled by Sheila Buttram and Kenny Morrow. Amy Jeffers is challenging, and she is leading. So here in the early voting, Amy Jeffers is in the lead by 3. Sheila Buttram right behind her, but Kenny Morrow has some work to do, and he'll be looking to these 2 polling places, both Paint Rock and Huntsville. There's a significant number of folks still left to vote in those, but did enough of them come out, and did it significantly change this race? That's what we're looking at. District 4, this is settled. Kenny Chadwell, Shonda Gray, so we'll just move right along. Here's a crowded 5th district. We looked at this a moment ago. Robin McBroom has to feel very comfortable. No one else does, because there's one more spot. And Paul Strunk, Logan Strunk, and Katrina Duncan are all right there, tightly grouped together. Paul is the incumbent for the 5th district. The other incumbent, Harold Chambers, is not running this round. So there'll be at least one new commissioner there, and it looks like Robin McBroom will be it if these trends and results hold out of the early voting. Continuing on to the 6th district here. This is the Oneida district, and the county commission will have 2 seats. The 2 incumbent commissioners for the county commission are Donnie Bolin and Patty Brown. You see them atop the list here, but you see the leading vote getter is Colby Burke. Really hard to see a scenario where Colby Burke is not a county commissioner. That looks pretty close to a lock. I'm not calling races. That's not my job, but I think Colby needs to go ahead and try to see which seat he wants. as far as it goes on the other side of that, it looks like it could be anybody, depending on the turnout for this 6th District Commission. It's already been settled. We just don't have the totals yet. Okay, we're going to find out tonight. Tonight we're going to find out. Jared Burke, Tom Payne. You know, the Tom Payne campaign, it sputtered early with the slogan of "No pain, no gain." He switched over to "Ride the Pain Train," and it made all the difference. He rides that to 618 votes in a friendly match against Jared Burke there. And so I really like Tom. I have to because I live in the 7th District. Next up, what do we got? School Board, Tommy Silcox. This is the one where we had the write-in votes for Sandra Beam. Tommy Silcox is at 408. He is going to be the commissioner, or I'm sorry, the school board member for 1st District out of the Fairview District. 4th District School Board, wonderful person, Kimberly Kidd, and no one even ran against her here this time, and they will return Miss Kidd to the 4th District School Board to represent Scott County Schools once again. And so 5th District, this was contested. This is a seat vacated. I believe Esther Abbott was the chairman of the Scott County School Board. So there's going to be a new chairman. Esther Abbott has steered this thing for quite some time, and she is stepping down, trying to fill her shoes and her seat tonight, Angela King and Richard Smith. Now, Richard Smith was formerly a member of the Scott County School Board, but in a different district, and now he was looking to run this time in the 5th District, but Angela King has a sizable advantage. There's 2 polling places there for the 5th District, both Pine Hill and Winfield. But right now, Angela King looks like she's got a really good advantage there in the early voting. But anything can happen, and if it does, we'll let you know. So next up, 7th District. This is my district. This is a school board race. The incumbent is Derek Sexton. The challenger is Tressa Murphy, and look at that. It is a single-digit difference in this school board race for 7th District. So it was a very important day at Birchfield, apparently it looks like, because that's where folks went out and voted live today. That's probably going to settle this one way or the other. What do we got next? This is the Oneida Special School Board. So there will be votes on this. Now, this is, I'm not even going to try to start explaining what makes the Oneida Special School District. I don't understand it. I think you have to be a physics major to understand how the lines run and who qualifies. I don't understand it, but I know this. I'm not in it, and I didn't vote in it. So, but I'm well aware of the folks that are running in it. And what you have here is a race where there are 3 seats available. One incumbent is not running again. Jason Perry's not running again, but the other 2 incumbents you see on the board, Stuart Jones and Dorothy Watson, and then 3 challengers. One is a former school board member in Mark Matthews. He has served before, and he didn't run the last time. And then you have former Oneida High School principal Kevin Bird, and then you have Brandon Ryan, who, of course, I'm familiar with from covering Oneida for so many years. So the Oneida Special School District is going to be in good hands. These are good people, and it's a tight race here right now. Kevin Bird is in the lead with 363 for one of 3 seats. Mark Matthews follows him at 309. Incumbent Dorothy Watson is at 300, and Brandon Ryan is 4 votes behind her with 296. Stuart Jones trails the field with 226. 3 of those folks are going to be on the Oneida School Board come tomorrow morning. Next up, we're back to cycling through. If you're just joining us, we're going to go right back over it. We'll cover everything till you know what's going on. This is the Independent Herald Network. We are having live coverage of election 2022, and we have been able to get through all of the early voting. Go ahead. We have a change in numbers. What have we added here? We have added a few votes. Can you pop back there? Is that the only one that's changed? Okay, there was an error in the early input, and Justin Wright's vote total has moved up some. So it was over 1,000 showing earlier. Now it's still right at 900 plus votes. Still a tall task, but this corrects the error. Justin Wright's voting is 1,537. But as I was saying, if you know somebody that would like to watch this coverage, that wants to know what happens here in Scott County tonight, you can look on Facebook Live. You can look on YouTube channel, and we will be here with you and hopefully later tonight, once we have some winners established, we'll have the opportunity to let them share with you not only a word of thanks, but a word of what their potential direction is for the office that they're taking here in Scott County. We do thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Tim Smith, leading the coverage tonight, but behind and around and beside me are all kinds of folks that are doing a great job, not the least of which is Kevin Akers. I referred to him as my security blanket earlier. If something happens and I go down, Kevin's ready to step in, and we appreciate that. Ben Garrett is here. He is the Independent Herald. He is providing us this opportunity to bring you this tonight. And, of course, Greg Bond, provides the production. So without him, you're not seeing this. So we're thankful. It's a great team to be a part of, and we continue to walk through these totals here. As you see, public defender, no one challenging Leif Jeffers, now here back county mayor. This is all early voting, folks. That's what we have so far is just early voting totals. But you see Jared Jeffers there with a 500 vote lead in the early voting. Tiffany Jeffers in the lead. She's got over a 500 vote lead in the early voting for assessor of property. Tim Phillips running a second right there for assessor of property. And then we have county trustee Renee Irwin. This is going to be a new trustee for the first time in a long time. She has a lead of nearly or of over 900 votes over Justin Wright. That's the one we just corrected there for you just a moment ago. Continuing to walk through, here's General Sessions Judge, a four-way race. A lot of discussion about this one here tonight. And here after tonight, you can just discuss who comes away with the win. Right now, Scarlett Ellis is in the lead. She has 1,328 votes. And this is a concerning lead for anyone else when you look at the early voting totals and what's yet to come. But again, it's all about turnout and things like that. Andy Tillman is at 1,074 right now. Patrick Sexton at 931. And Howard Ellis is at 871. That's for General Sessions Judge. That's an 8-year term that saw the retirement of Judge Jamie Cotton. And so these four folks vying for that. Next up, Sheriff. So Sheriff for 10 years, I believe, has been Ronnie Phillips. He finished a term. He's been elected twice. I don't think he's been challenged until this year. But this year, Brian Keaton has challenged him. He is the chief of police in Kerrville, and he currently has more than a 700-vote lead out of the early voting. He's got 2,489. Ronnie has 1,712. Continuing on, Circuit Court Clerk Donnie Phillips. You'll notice the resemblance. Donnie is safe tonight. No one running against him. Donnie has 3,356 courtesy votes in the early voting. County Clerk Felicia Bilbrey. She was in a crowded field 4 years ago, so this may not feel as bad as it was. There were several folks vying for this office. Felicia Bilbrey came out on top 4 years ago, and now 4 years later, after serving in that for Scott County, she is just under 300 votes in the lead over her challenger, Amanda Sexton. So we'll see how that race develops as we go through the night. Again, these are all early voting totals. If you're just joining us, we have early voting totals only. So today's vote has not been tallied and has not been compiled and included yet. You see a couple of races that don't have challengers. You saw Register of Deeds right prior to that. And, of course, that's going to once again be Ashley Newport Risden. And then you see Road Superintendent Kelvin King. There's a write-in campaign, and I haven't seen any totals on the write-in against Kelvin King, I don't think. But then you have John Beatty. So he's the county attorney, and he will continue to be the county attorney. District Commission, 2 seats, 1st District. Recapping this, right now, your incumbents in the 1st District are David Jeffers and David Blue Day. So David Blue Day is in the lead. Second right now is Jagger Coffey, a new political figure there in the 1st District. He is leading the incumbent David Jeffers by about 12 votes. So the 1st District has 1 polling place, Fairview. When I came through this afternoon, very crowded. Looked like a lot of folks got off work and went and voted, and that's great. People exercising their right to vote here today. But you see the lead after the early voting here. One of the incumbents is in a 12-vote trouble, but that's not something that can't be made up in the voting today. So behind that, you do have some folks that appear to be trailing a bit too far to be challenging in Lacey Strunk, Gail Donovan, and Speedy Blevins. Second District County Commission. Leading in the votes for 2 spots. There's 5 folks here. 2 spots are going to be taken tonight. Joyce Keaton is in the lead. And then second is Taylor Stevens. And then running third is Michelle Terry, with the incumbent Jennifer Dishman in fourth. And then Susan Veneer rounding out the field. Remember, there is a vacated seat in the second district that is vacated by Jared Jeffers, who is running for county mayor tonight against Jeff Tibbles, and he, out of the early voting, was leading when we looked at those totals. We continue to wait. We're almost an hour into the broadcast here, and we're thankful that you've joined us as we continue to look. Now we're in the third district for the county commission. There's 2 seats available, 3 folks after that. The incumbents are Sheila Buttram and Kenny Morrow, and Amy Jeffers is the leader. So she is the challenger, and she's in the lead by 3 votes. Sheila Buttram, though, is right there behind her, and Kenny Morrow has some work to do. He's hoping for a big Kenny Morrow turnout today in the Huntsville 3rd District or in the Paint Rock. In 4th District, these folks will serve once again. They've served for the last 4 years, and they're going to return. Kenny Chadwell and Shonda Gray will be your 4th District commissioners. In the 5th District, again, a crowded field. You have 1 incumbent, 1 seat that has been vacated. Harold Chambers didn't run. The incumbent, Paul Strunk, he is currently running in second to Robin McBroom. There will be 2 seats. Then behind Paul Strunk is Logan Strunk. Less than 20 votes separate the 2, and then it's 5 more votes and you find Katrina Duncan. So those 3 are in a very tight contest that will be settled based on what happens today. Robin McBroom looks to be in very good condition coming into this county commission race in the 5th district. In the 6th district, that is a striking total. Again, Colby Burke, he is new to the political scene, and he has garnered almost twice the votes of his competitors there in the Oneida district. In the 6th district, Colby Burke is going to be one of the 2. It's pretty clear. And it could be any of the other 4 in the other spot because it's that tight a race. Second right now is Patty Brown. She's an incumbent. Right behind her is Sean Terry, then Tori Slavin, and Donnie Bolin, the other incumbent. So anything could happen with that second slot. 7th district, this is going to be Jared Burke. This is going to be Tom Payne. These are the early votes, but they are the 2 running, and there are 2 spots. 1st district, school board, Tommy Silcox in the lead there. There is a write-in campaign, but it is not threatening him. 4th district, it's going to be Kimberly Kidd. She knew that going in. She's got these courtesy votes in the early voting from the 4th district. Also on school board, this one is contested. Esther Abbott retiring, and Angela King is leading Richard Smith there in the 5th district school board race. In the 7th district school board, less it's not double digits. It's a 9-vote difference. The challenger, Tressa Murphy, leads the incumbent, which is Derek Sexton. Here's the Oneida school board race you've seen. There are 3 spots open and 5 people vying for that. The incumbents are Stuart Jones and Dorothy Watson. The leaders right now, Kevin Bird at 1, Mark Matthews. These are all out of early voting. Mark Matthews is second. Third is Dorothy Watson with a slim lead, a 4-vote lead over Brandon Ryan, and then Stuart Jones trailing the field in the Oneida Special School District school board race. We are closing in. Certainly we're at an hour now, and we're continuing to cycle through. So as you see these results, just continue to cycle through. I'm going to wet my whistle real quick, and we'll just continue to wait. There you see the active registered voters. There are 12,084 voters in Scott County. 4,236 have already voted. You see to the right the criminal court judge. Remember that's just a slice. Also district attorney. This is the 8th Judicial District, and these folks, Leif Jeffers, the public defender, they are all running in 5 counties there. You see Effler and Leif Jeffers, they don't have anybody running against them, so they're going to be holding on to those seats. But that criminal court judge, is a very tight race. Look here at county mayor. These are, again, early voting totals, but you have the incumbent Jeff Tibbles. He is trailing Jared Jeffers by 500 votes here out of the early voting. You see, well, this is circuit court judge with John McAfee. There we're back to Jeffers and Tibbles. And again, that's a 500 vote lead for Jared Jeffers out of the early voting. So that is a concern for the incumbent here tonight as we look at this. Tiffany Jeffers with a good lead here over Tim Phillips. And I say a good lead when you look at the number voted, the number that we expect will vote today. This is not, I mean, nobody's going to be completely comfortable till all the results are in, but this is a nice look out of the early voting if you're Tiffany Jeffers. She's liking how this is shaping up. Same thing here for Renee Irwin. This may be one of the even more pleasant results for Renee Irwin, or more of a sigh of relief for her because of the gap that she's been able to open up here tonight for county trustee. General Sessions judge. I don't think anybody's sighing here on this one because anything could happen and a lot is going on, but Scarlett Ellis does have a good lead. It's what I would qualify as a good lead of almost 250 votes, or right at 250 votes right now, but there's still time for anyone in that column to do damage, with Tillman coming in at a second with 1,074. This is for an 8-year term. Jamie Cotton retiring, and one of these four is going to be your General Sessions judge for the next 8 years. Here's Sheriff. We talked about in the opening of the broadcast. Sometimes, some years, people are looking for change. I saw it the last time I did results. I was talking to these folks. I think the last time I did election results was 2014, and it was kind of one of those feels that it was not a good night to be the incumbent. We are seeing that here in Scott County tonight. I don't think it's always that way, but we're seeing that both in the county mayor race and here in the sheriff's race. This is a tough hill. If you're Ronnie Phillips and you're over 700 votes down here on after the early voting, I mean, there are more votes to come in, but this is a tough hill to climb. It's a tough night to be an incumbent, is what it looks like here shaping up, unless you're one of these incumbents that was unchallenged. Circuit court clerk, such as this, Donnie Phillips, unchallenged, and he'll be fine. He's going to be the circuit court clerk continuing on here. We're going to take a quick break as we await more results. We're an hour in to the Independent Herald election coverage. Just going to take a quick break here. I appreciate the offer. And when we return, we'll continue to bring you election 2022 here in Scott County. Welcome back. We're at the top of the hour. We have some new results to report to you. Bringing into the fold, it is the third district. We've got Huntsville results that are being totaled in as we go through these. They're being put in right now, so we will get to those just as quickly as we can. You are watching the Independent Herald's coverage of the 2022 election, all the Scott County countywide races, the commissioners, the school district, and the races that you are most interested in. We're bringing you the results here live tonight from Scott County building here in Huntsville, and that again is the next results we're going to have in. Currently our team is putting those in right now. We've had the early voting totals for some time, 4,236 votes in those early voting totals. Do we have any idea about how many Huntsville votes were cast today? So in Huntsville, to give you an idea, as we were talking about earlier, there's so many early votes. In Huntsville today, 226 votes. Now, that's not the only third district precinct. Paint Rock is also third district. So you're looking at pretty much half what we had, and we're ready to look at some totals here. So let's go first. This is the third district commission, not a final. Well, we're still looking for third district totals from Paint Rock before this becomes final, but you're seeing the early voting, you're seeing the Huntsville district totals here, and you're seeing the challenger, Amy Jeffers. You see she's in gray, the two incumbents, Kenny Morrow and Sheila Buttram, they're in blue at the top. So you've got two spots open here for the third district county commission, and right now Amy Jeffers takes a commanding lead here out of the Huntsville voting of over 200 votes here today, and then including the early voting, she's got 456 votes. And she most certainly is going to be serving as a county commissioner here in the next 4 years. And then right behind her is Kenny Morrow, about 80 votes, 86 votes behind here. And Kenny Morrow also looks very strong because he's got 370 votes. So the difference in voting there you see is then with Sheila Buttram, the other incumbent, she has 219. Now, keep in mind, Paint Rock is probably where Sheila Buttram would pull from here. And okay, and we've got a wrong total here that we're fixing. Sheila's voting total, I see, that is wrong. Yeah, so she and Amy are tied. So I apologize for the mistake. So we have a tie. So that is still a tight race, and we've still got Paint Rock to go. So Sheila Buttram and Amy Jeffers are tied at 456 is what we're looking at there in the third district. So we're looking at third district does not have a school board member up this round. That is not going on here, but we do have coming up soon, very soon, West Oneida, one of the larger districts, actually the largest single district. Is West Oneida with 2008. That will be coming in very soon as well. So we're going to continue to bring you all of these races here tonight as they input these in, just working to get this corrected. What you're looking at on your screen, the Sheila Buttram total is incorrect. We have her in a tie with Amy Jeffers right now for those two seats. So we're going to move on, and we'll come back to that as you look at your slides here on the Independent Herald's coverage of the 2022 election. We're expecting results to come in pretty quickly here, and we're trying to get them to you as quickly as we can, but also as accurately as we can. You see here in the county mayor vote in Huntsville, Jared Jeffers with 130 votes, Jeff Tibbles with 88, and so the totals right now, Jared Jeffers continues to open up a lead on Jeff Tibbles. He's got 2,449, Jeff Tibbles with 1,892. So Jared Jeffers, the challenger, leading the incumbent here in the county mayor race as we add the Huntsville totals in. You're good. Next up, as we look at these races, continuing to add the Huntsville totals, we're also adding West Oneida. And here we look at sheriff. So here in Huntsville for sheriff, Brian Keaton today is voting in the Huntsville precinct. Brian Keaton pulls in 124 votes. Ronnie Phillips with 99. So we continue to see a trend. Brian Keaton expands his lead with the Huntsville voting here today as he nears a 900 vote lead with the early voting. You also see West Oneida in there. Brian Keaton wins West Oneida with 224 votes to Ronnie Phillips 151. And again, just about a little less than a 900 vote lead for sheriff, as the challenger Brian Keaton is in good position here at the 9 o'clock hour here on election night. Continuing to get results in, and we're continuing to input those. So these totals are updating as we go. Next race we're going to look at here as we're cycling through to assessor of property. Here is a three-way race with Tiffany Jeffers. She is in the lead. She wins narrowly in Huntsville over Tim Phillips. She gets 99 of the Huntsville votes. Tim Phillips gets 90. Daniel Murley picks up 26, but he is trailing distantly here. This is a two-person race, and right now Tiffany Jeffers continues to expand that lead, and she does so tonight here in Huntsville. We don't have the West Oneida totals on that one yet. Continuing on, here's County Clerk Felicia Bilbrey, the incumbent, and Amanda Sexton. Here, Huntsville, she does get the win in the Huntsville precinct. That probably is something she needed to have tonight. She gets 112 votes to Felicia's 105, but over in West Oneida, Felicia picks up 210 votes to Amanda's 157. So really, it continues to expand the lead for Felicia Bilbrey as she sits under 400 votes in the lead, but she certainly has a good lead there with these early voting and two precincts reporting. Here's trustee Renee Irwin, Justin Wright. Renee Irwin out in West Oneida, you would expect that to be a strong precinct for her, and it was 233 to 134. And then over in Huntsville, Renee Irwin gets the win there as well, 140 to 68. We encourage you, don't pay attention to those third column totals. These are just things that are showing up there. But the thing that is important, that total down at the bottom in red. Renee Irwin now has over a 1,000 vote lead over Justin Wright, with now West Oneida, Huntsville, and early voting reporting. We're going to come back here. We're going to tell you that we're just continue to put in results. We've got West Oneida, we've got Huntsville reporting, and we have the early voting. So things beginning to take shape. West Oneida, a huge district, and of course in that 7th district of West Oneida, we can probably declare a winner in the school board race when we get that looked at over in District 7. Tressa Murphy and Derek Sexton out of that early voting. Tressa Murphy had the lead, and there you go. Tressa Murphy will be replacing Derek Sexton on the Scott County School Board as she pulls off the win by about 52 votes, somewhere in there. I used to teach math, but it's been too long ago. So we got Robbins coming in very soon. We'll continue to cycle through some of these results here on election night. Independent Herald's coverage of the 2022 election, some of the big races. Can we take a look at county mayor when we get an opportunity here? I don't think we've seen the updated county mayor totals here with Huntsville now and West Oneida reporting. You would expect Huntsville to be strong for Jeffers, West Oneida strong for Tibbles. You're seeing Jared Jeffers. Did you see that pop right there? That might have been the Robbins going in there, and it was. That's his home district. And you see that Jared Jeffers now opening up almost a 700 vote lead for county mayor. Incumbent in trouble in county mayor, incumbent in trouble in sheriff, as we continue to look throughout here. Let's take a look at the sessions judge, if we could. Let's see what we're looking at in that four-way race for Scott County General Sessions Judge. It's an 8-year term, and you have 4 folks in the race on that one. We currently have West Oneida, Robbins, Huntsville, and early voting, and Scarlett Ellis continues to hold a lead. That's an important thing. Huntsville, you would expect to be a stronghold for Andy Tillman, and he is still running second, but he is currently over 350 votes behind Scarlett Ellis right now. West Oneida showing up there for Patrick Sexton a bit as he pulls closer now. And look, Howard Ellis with 1,023. So Scarlett Ellis still with the lead, and she has expanded that lead. But the field behind her begins to narrow, and we'll begin to look at these other precincts as they go. But right now, Scarlett Ellis in the lead for General Sessions Judge. And there you see the breakdown by precinct for the votes that have been cast in Robbins and Huntsville, West Oneida, and then the early voting. We don't have the Oneida precinct in yet. That'll be another very large, and Fairview is going to be a very large precinct. I would think also perhaps that would be a good precinct for Tillman, really, in that one too. So we'll see. That's just a prediction there, but we have a sizable lead for Scarlett Ellis now in what we have. Everything we have reported so far is showing now. Is that correct? Okay, so we'll cycle through here and take a look at the votes. As you see the voting totals, McAfee is going to go in. He's unchallenged here. We're looking at Circuit Court Judge. Here is Elizabeth Asbury. She'll continue on as Chancellor. She's unchallenged. That's in the 8th Judicial District. Now, she won't just win based on Scott County. Those races, of course, are across 5 counties. Now here's Criminal Court Judge. Here, Graham Wilson continues to build a Scott County lead. That is a necessity for him in the Criminal Court Judge here tonight. He's got a 1,300 vote plus lead over Zach Walden. He's the Campbell County challenger there, or not challenger, they're all challengers. This is a vacated Judge Shane Sexton retires, and these 3 gentlemen are vying for that title. But it looks like just from the Scott County vote, it's 2 contenders unless something happens wild. The biggest county in all of this is Campbell County, but Graham Wilson needed Scott County to show up and show out for him, and they did today with 2,718 votes, and still more to come. So John McAfee, he will continue to be Circuit Court Judge. The District Attorney, Jared Effler, gets those courtesy votes. You see the totals there as General Effler is not being challenged. Leif Jeffers, hometown candidate, public defender. He's going to continue on in that role for another 8 years. Here's County Mayor. You see the lead that has continued to creep ever greater for Jared Jeffers in this race as he nears a 700 vote lead over Jeff Tibbles, the incumbent. Now you see Assessor of Property, Tiffany Jeffers. She now has nearly a 700 vote lead throughout these precincts that have been reporting over Tim Phillips, who has 1941, and then Daniel Murley is trailing there. So Tiffany Jeffers is looking good. Tim Phillips is he's needing some help in these precincts that are going to come along. Here's County Trustee Renee Irwin. She now has a 1,000 plus lead in this one. I mean, that's going to be a huge mountain to climb for Justin Wright. I do know we don't have Pine Hill, we don't have Winfield. Those should be strong districts for Justin. Oneida as well. But you know, this is going to be a race that Renee, it's Renee's right now, and it's going to take a lot of work. With voting already done, there's no work to do. We're just going to find out what the results are. There's the General Sessions Judge that we looked at just a few moments ago with Scarlett Ellis continuing to lead here with 1,609 in the voting. Sheriff, it's an expanded lead now. Brian Keaton, over 1,000 vote lead for Brian Keaton, and this is becoming a very extreme mountain to climb as well for the incumbent Ronnie Phillips. As we look on here tonight, several still to report, but so far the trends, the totals, Brian Keaton's looking strong here tonight as perhaps your next Scott County Sheriff. We have some totals, just going to give these out real quick. We don't have them on the slides, I don't think, but Campbell and Union are not in, okay? So Campbell is the largest in this 8th Judicial District, but in this race for Criminal Court Judge, as Shane Sexton retires, with Claiborne County in, Scott County in, Fentress County in. We have totals from them, and currently Graham Wilson is leading 4,737 to Zach Walden's 3,911. Tabor a distant third, probably not going to be a factor. The question is going to be, it looks like, what's Graham Wilson's night in Campbell County going to look like? How does Graham Wilson run in Campbell County as Zach Walden? That's his home county. It's the most populous county in the 8th Judicial District. So something to watch there. But certainly Graham Wilson, it appears, has taken care of business in Scott and Fentress and Claiborne here tonight in this effort. More results coming in. What do we got coming in? Paint Rock is about to come in. So we're going to have 3rd District finalized in just a few moments once these Paint Rock votes come in. Remember, it was a tie, two-way tie for district or for county commission in the 3rd District. So there doesn't have to be a breaking of that tie. It's just, is it going to be a confirmation that in 3rd District that Sheila Buttram and Amy Jeffers will move on? We're going to find that out here in just a few moments. We continue to roll these totals here on election night 2022. And again, these totals are coming in quickly. We're updating them as quickly as we can. You see more expansion of the lead there for Renee Irwin as we get the totals in for, you said Paint Rock, I think. Yeah, Paint Rock. I need to check these off as I go. That would be smart. A professional might think to do that. And so I'm going to try to do it anyway. So that's what we're looking at. So you see there is almost an 1,100 vote lead now for Brian Keaton as we approach 9:20 here tonight. 4,000 votes for Donnie Phillips in the courtesy column. I have Robbins, Huntsville, Paint Rock, West Oneida, and early voting. Am I missing any that I was told are finalized? I know they're deep in concentration. Here's Felicia Bilbrey. It was Felicia Bilbrey. She's about 400 some votes ahead right now against the challenger, Amanda Chambers Sexton. You see Ashley Risden is unchallenged here for Register of Deeds. We continue to cycle through Kelvin King. There was a write-in candidate, but it's not enough of a challenge to bother Kelvin here tonight. We have everything in so far. Let me make sure what I have is we've got Robbins, we've got Huntsville, we've got Paint Rock, we've got West Oneida, and early voting. Yep. Okay, that's where we are. Here's John Beatty, County Attorney, with the courtesy votes. Look here. 1st District Commission, those were all early votes. We don't have Fairview's updated totals in yet, so we're going to move on through this 1st District, although something's coming in right now, so get ready. We don't have all of the 2nd District. We have the Robbins totals here, and we have Joyce Keaton in the lead, and I missed who that was back there. There we go. Thank you. I appreciate it. Sorry I'm slow on this. Joyce Keaton in the lead, but look at that. Taylor Stevens, Michelle Terry, Elgin is going to decide that 2nd spot. The incumbent Jennifer Dishman would have to have almost a miraculous comeback to get into this field. It looks like Joyce Keaton, although that's still a slim margin, it looks like Joyce Keaton and either Taylor Stevens or Michelle Terry, 3-vote difference right there. We've got Elgin still to come in. How many people voted there today? We're going to find out. 3rd District, it's finalized. Here it is. Sheila Buttram and Amy Jeffers are going to be your commissioners. Again, and apologies, I gave an erroneous total earlier, and I hope this makes up for it as we congratulate two commissioners. One is new, one is an incumbent. Sheila Buttram returns. Amy Jeffers will be a new commissioner in the 3rd District. Moving on to the 4th District. We don't have totals for Helenwood yet, so these totals are still just early voting totals. And again, there's not a mystery there. Both these folks are going in. So continuing on, now we're in the 5th District. So for the 5th District right now, we don't have Pine Hill, we don't have Winfield. So this is unchanged. This is still just early voting. 6th District, Oneida is not in. This is still early voting represented here and nothing more. Now let's go West Oneida. Pine Hill is now in. So when we can we cycle back? Here we are. Pine Hill for the county commission. Pine Hill, it's not over because Winfield, the larger district, is still going to vote. But here we are with Pine Hill, the county commission, and Robin McBroom out of early voting hangs on to that lead. And look here. Paul Strunk, the incumbent, is in 2nd, but Logan Strunk has narrowed it. He is within 2 votes on the Pine Hill precinct. But remember, you've still got Winfield, and it's a larger precinct to go. But that's narrowed. Katrina Duncan is distantly back there. and then that looks to be the only factors here tonight. So continuing on, let's go back 7th District. We know what's going on here. We've got two folks running in the 7th, and both are going to be in, so we've talked about that. What do we got next? School boards. So 1st District, we've still got votes to go in the school board, but there is just a write-in campaign that is not going to be successful here, so Tommy Silcox goes there. In the 2nd District, half of it's in. We've got Robbins. We don't have Elgin, but they don't have a school board member. You see their county commission, but we're doing school board now. So 4th District school board's going to be the same. Let's look at 5th District school board. We have out of 5th District Pine Hill, but not Winfield. Okay, we're going to have Helenwood coming your way very soon. That leaves us with Fairview, Elgin, Winfield, and Oneida unreported right now. Here's your 5th District, still with Winfield to come, the larger precinct, but it is Angela King with a sizable advantage on Richard Smith here tonight for school board. Continuing on, 6th District, this is unchanged. The early voting is always, there's the 7th District, I'm sorry, school board, that is final. Tressa Murphy is your 7th District school board representative for West Oneida. So she will replace Derek Sexton on the Scott County School Board. Here's Oneida School District. This is unchanged. This is still early voting. We do maybe have some West Oneida totals here. Let me change that. So let's see what we've got. West Oneida is in. Kevin Bird maintains the lead. Is this correct? We have Kevin Bird in the lead with 386. We have Mark Matthews with 329. We have Brandon Ryan has overtaken Dorothy Watson with 314 to Dorothy's 311. A 3-vote difference here as the longtime incumbent, and then incumbent Stuart Jones in a distant 5th there with 239. But Oneida is looking at a possible 3 new members, but still there is a lot of votes to count in the Oneida district. So we'll see what happens when that comes in here tonight. But right now, 3 new members in the lead. Here's county mayor with all the new totals in. Jared Jeffers still a pretty comfortable lead over Jeff Tibbles as the challenger leads the incumbent here right now. Assessor of property, Tiffany Jeffers. She has opened up a 701 vote lead here on Tim Phillips. Still to report Fairview, Elgin, Winfield, and Oneida. So these candidates are right now thinking, is this my precinct? Is this my area to make up ground? Fairview, Elgin, Winfield, and Oneida. That's what is needed to complete this picture of these county races tonight. Assessor of property right now, Tiffany Jeffers in the lead. County trustee, Renee Irwin. That is a nearly 1,300 vote lead. And that's looking pretty insurmountable right now. It looks like Renee Irwin is going to go in as county trustee. There would have to be a whole lot of change here. I'm saying there's still a chance. You've got Winfield, you've got Oneida to report in this, and those are large precincts and Justin's home area there. But right now, Renee Irwin with a lead, and Renee also she's in the Oneida area as well. But you would just think those are precincts that Justin's kind of holding out some hope on in this one. General Sessions Judge, here is the lead now for Scarlett Ellis. You have Fairview, Elgin, Winfield, and Oneida. What's that look like, a General Sessions Judge? What does that look like for your chances? That's what these 4 are thinking about right now. Scarlett Ellis has a 1,787 vote total. She is more than 300 votes ahead of Andy Tillman. And then it's Patrick Sexton and Howard Ellis, and you've got 4 districts to report. They're crunching their numbers right now, trying to think what that looks like. But certainly you want to be Scarlett Ellis right now with the way things shape up. She has a good, comfortable advantage with 4 precincts left to confirm. Let's go next. Sheriff Brian Keaton continues to pull away from Ronnie Phillips here tonight. It's a tough night for the incumbents in some of these countywide races, in some of the bigger races, and certainly just like in the county mayor race, here in the sheriff's race, the incumbents are in big trouble here tonight with 4 districts remaining to report. It appears you're going to have a new county mayor and a new county sheriff, as Brian Keaton has now over 1,200 vote lead on Ronnie Phillips. County clerk. This one is staying tight, probably tighter than Felicia Bilbrey, the incumbent, would like to have right now. 4 districts left to report. She does have over a 400 vote lead over Amanda Sexton here, and again, Fairview, Elgin, Winfield, and Oneida. They're thinking about it. They're crunching it. What's next? County Commission, 1st District. This is just going to be early totals. So we've seen these. We know where this is right now. We know that Blue Day is in the lead. We know that Jagger Coffey's in 3rd, and Jagger Coffey's in 2nd. David Jeffers, incumbent, is in 3rd. The others are distant, but we have that entire district still to hear from. There's 1,849 voters there that's going to solve this puzzle for us later on tonight. 2nd District, we don't have Elgin yet, so we can't call this one. 3rd District. 3rd District has completed their reporting. It's Huntsville and Paint Rock, and tonight your county commissioners for the 3rd District are Sheila Buttram and Amy Jeffers. Kenny Morrow, the incumbent, comes in 3rd here tonight, so Amy Jeffers will be the new face on the county commission. And she won't be the only one. Several new faces on county commission, although they won't come from the 4th District. The 4th District is in. There wasn't a challenger. Kenny Chadwell, Shonda Gray, they return to the county commission from the 4th District. What about the 5th District? We have Pine Hill, but we don't have Winfield. So we've covered these totals a little bit. We see Robin McBroom can kind of breathe easy a little bit, but the 2 Strunk gentlemen are just in knots right now. Paul Strunk, Logan Strunk, 2-vote difference right now, and then Katrina Duncan is trying to make a move on the inside and get back into this race. 6th District, Oneida totals we don't have yet. So these are early voting totals you're seeing, but I'll tell you what, that early voting total from Colby Burke just may be enough. It's going to take a whole lot of work from the others to try to overcome Colby. It may be a 4-way race for 2nd here in the 6th District, but in that Oneida District, we haven't got reported yet, so we'll see. County Commission in the 7th District, Jared Burke and Tom Payne, not pictured here for some reason, but there we are. That's your 2 commissioners for the 7th District. Independent Herald coverage tonight. We thank you for joining us. We're about an hour and a half in. I'm Tim Smith. I'm just the person you see. A lot of work going on behind the scenes. Leetta Boyd, Rachel Garrett, Melanie Garrett, Ben Garrett. What's Toby doing? I mean, is he so busy that he can't get up here and do something? And then we've got Kevin Akers and Greg Bond making the magic happen tonight. So I'm just reading. They're doing the work, and that's how I like it. So here we go. 7th District School Board. We've got a new school board member from the 7th District, and it's Tressa Murphy as she overtakes Derek Sexton here tonight. That's the Oneida Special School District Board of Education. Right now, it looks like Kevin Bird is pretty solid. I don't know if I can say that, though, because Oneida's got a big district. Here comes something. We've got Elgin coming in. We're about to finalize the 2nd District here in just a moment. The 2nd District races will soon be finalized as Elgin comes in. We're going to find out who those county commissioners are going to be in the 2nd District. We had a tight race in that one, so we'll look forward to bringing you those totals here on the Scott County election of 2022. We thank you for joining us. There was 4,236 early voters. We recapped those several times in that first hour, and then in these last 30 minutes, we've just had a flurry of reports coming in. We're about to add Elgin to the totals. That will leave us 3 precincts shy of finalizing your elected officials for the next 4 years, and in some cases, the next 8 years. We do thank you for joining us, and we are going to continue to try to keep you informed here as these totals are being input. We mentioned there's going to be several new faces on the commission. So 7th District, it's got 2 brand new commissioners coming in. The 5th District, we definitely have 1 new commissioner, and it is a tight race right now. Paul Strunk, the incumbent, is in a challenge right now. The Winfield precinct is not in yet for us to report his fate and the fate of the 5th District in that one. There won't be new faces from the 4th District. It's going to be Kenny Chadwell and Shonda Gray. In the 3rd District, Sheila Buttram will return as she led vote getters. She will be joined by newcomer Amy Jeffers. In the 2nd District, Jared Jeffers left the 2nd District Commission position as he felt it was time for him to challenge for county mayor. He calculated correctly so far from the totals we've gotten. Jared Jeffers is in a solid lead for county mayor tonight over the incumbent Jeff Tibbles. So that seat that he left and his commission mate was Jennifer Dishman. And in that 2nd District, we're expecting 2 new commissioners unless something really changed out of Elgin, and let's go to it right now. The 2nd District commissioners for the next 4 years, here in the voting totals, you're going to have your leading vote getter is Taylor Stevens. And in second, I'm sorry? Oh, we got to reverse this. I'm sorry. It is not Taylor. It is Joyce Keaton. Joyce Keaton. I built it up, and then I let you down. Let me try this again. Give me a second chance as we repair the 2nd District. We're going to have probably 2 new commissioners here in the 2nd District. And it's going to be Joyce Keaton, as you see there, and look how close. So I wasn't wrong. It is Taylor Stevens by 2 votes. 2 votes. Taylor Stevens goes in. Michelle Story Terry just 2 votes shy. So, you know, that is a tight race. Elgin decided that here tonight, and the incumbent is out. Jennifer Dishman is out, and then of course Jared Jeffers left. So you're going to have 2 new representatives there from the 2nd District. So there we go. We have Fairview, Winfield, and Oneida remaining. Here comes Fairview. We're about to settle up the 1st District here for you. 1st District, crowded field in the county commission. So we'll wipe this away just a minute. And then once we get these totals in, we'll go back and look as Winfield and Oneida lag behind. We'll take a look at all the race totals with just Winfield and Oneida left. We're going to learn a lot here in just a moment as whispers take place throughout here. Is there some more surprises in store for you here this evening? We shall see. So as we're continuing with the Scott County 2022 election coverage, we thank you for making us your choice here tonight on the Independent Herald Network, and we appreciate all that the work that has gone into this, and most assuredly Gabe Cron of the Election Commission. You can't say enough about the outstanding job she does. You know, in a time when people talk about questioning election results and things like that, you never hear an utterance of something like that because we have Gabe Cron running the elections here in Scott County. She does a great job, very trusted, and we appreciate them hosting us here tonight here at the county building as we continue to bring you totals. We're about to give you totals from we have Winfield and Oneida yet to report. Winfield and Oneida are left. You see the county mayor race. Now listen, here is a huge gap, right? We're almost at a 1,000 vote difference. But if Jeff Tibbles were to pick the 2 districts, he would probably pick Oneida and West Oneida to have not reporting yet. But he at least has Oneida and he has Winfield. But Jared Jeffers looking very strong here tonight against the incumbent. It looks like we might have a new county mayor, but there's still 2 districts to report. Next up, assessor of property. Continuing to expand the lead, you have Daniel Murley, a distant third. You have Tim Phillips and Tiffany Jeffers. It looks like Tim Phillips is not able to chip away at the lead that Tiffany has continued to quietly build out of the early voting. We have Winfield and Oneida to continue on here, but Tiffany Jeffers is on solid footing here with quick math, a nearly 700 vote, a little over 700 vote total here, 751 maybe. That's some good quick math right there. Don't expect me to do it again. County trustee Renee Irwin, now a 1,400 vote lead. Again, if you're Justin Wright, the 2 districts you don't want reporting yet are probably Winfield and Oneida, but you're going to have a strong run too from Renee Irwin in Oneida, and of course Winfield, the home for Justin Wright. It looks like it's looking like an insurmountable lead now for Renee Irwin for county trustee. 2 districts remaining, Winfield and Oneida. What's next? General Sessions Judge, Scarlett Ellis. She has led from the outset. When we did the early voting here tonight, it's been Scarlett in the lead. Scarlett continues to lead here, and again, it's kind of a quiet. The lead looks very similar as there's been attempts to chip away at it, but Andy Tillman is not getting close enough here, and now it's not good news for him that Winfield and Oneida are the ones that remain, I don't think. 1946 for Scarlett, 1614 for Andy Tillman. It's Patrick Sexton at 1367 and Howard Ellis at 1300. All 4 of those candidates. That's a great showing. I mean, you look, that's a good tight race, but it is decidedly Scarlett Ellis's race right now with Oneida and Winfield left to go. Sheriff, 1,500 votes, almost 1,500 votes, separating the challenger Brian Keaton and Ronnie Phillips. Hard to see a path here. Winfield and Oneida remaining. It's hard to see a path for Ronnie Phillips to overcome what Brian Keaton has put together here tonight. County Clerk, Felicia Bilbrey, does get a little more breathing room here. She knows she's got Oneida and Winfield going. The math probably in her head right now. She's probably not as relaxed as I can be about it, but it looks very strong for Felicia Bilbrey with these 2 precincts being the ones left. She's got this nearly 350 vote lead, and guess what? Oneida is in. So we're about to learn a whole lot about a lot of these races. Things are going to get settled real quick right here. So next up, County Commission. This is over. In County Commission, it is going to be David Blue Day, and it's going to be David Jeffers. Those are your incumbents. Jagger Coffee, strong run, falls 10 votes short of David Jeffers here tonight, so your 1st District Commissioners will remain the same. 2nd District Commissioners, these are done. It is going to be Joyce Keaton and Taylor Stevens. Look at that, by 2 votes. Taylor Stevens makes it in. You don't think your vote counts? Look at that. Your vote counts. It's important. Remember that. So there you go. Joyce Keaton, Taylor Stevens are your 2nd District Commissioners. In the 3rd District, these are settled. It's going to be Sheila Buttram. It's going to be Amy Jeffers in that 3rd District on the County Commission. Next up, 4th District. We know this, but we're going to recap it because these folks, there's something to be said about not being challenged, especially in a county commission race. Folks must be pleased with Kenny Chadwell and Shonda Gray. They get these, what they call courtesy votes. They didn't get challenged, so congratulations to these 2 candidates. Don't mean to just brush by them. Thankful to have folks that are willing to serve, willing to try, to lead, and these folks continue to do so. 5th District. 5th District is not settled. Now, we can look at this race right here, right now, as they're feverishly typing in. I'm going to hold on this race because we're about to go to the 6th District, which is about to be finalized. So in the County Commission, by the way, 6th District's going to finalize Commission, Oneida Special School District. I don't think there's any Oneida Special School District votes in the Winfield precinct. I mean, again, if you joined us earlier, I told you it's a lot of physics and calculus to try to figure out what the Oneida Special School District is, but I don't think they're in there. But we'll see. We may have a finalization of that race in a moment. But look here at this 5th District. It is not final, and we are not done. We do not have Winfield. This is Pine Hill. This is early vote. We don't have Winfield, but so far it's Robin McBroom looking comfortable, and then Paul Strunk, Logan Strunk right there behind her in a 2-vote difference. Again, does your vote count? Absolutely. Next up, have we got those totals in? Not yet? Okay. We're double checking. So we're going to hold right here as we double check, telling you there's 1 precinct left, and that is Winfield, the 5th District. Everything else has been settled. If you're not sure who or what in these races, we're going to recap them. But we do have everything but the 5th District finalized so far here tonight. And then, of course, those countywide races are shaping up pretty good. We ready to go? Here we go. 6th District County Commission. 6th District County Commission. Yep, we're going to finalize this right here. Colby Burke, we told you it looked insurmountable, and then look at this. Oh, my goodness. Again, does your vote count? Absolutely. It is a 5-vote difference between 3 candidates, and the incumbent Patty Brown, the incumbent Donnie Bolin are out. Colby Burke is firmly on the county commission, and we have Sean Terry edging out Tori Slavin by 1 vote. 6th District representatives will be Colby Burke and Sean Terry. Do we have the Oneida Special School District that should be finalized here in this next slide? And here we go. You have 3 spots, and you have 5 people vying for those. The incumbents, Stuart Jones and Dorothy Watson, and look how narrow. Kevin Bird is on the school board now. Mark Matthews, you would think I would know that name, returns to the Oneida Special School District School Board. And then Dorothy Watson survives a challenge from Brandon Ryan by 2 votes. It's not like I'm a historian of Scott County elections, but folks, have you ever seen an election more things settled by 1 or 2 votes than you have seen tonight? How many people are home right now watching this that just didn't get out, didn't get off work, or didn't take the time and look at what these vote totals do? Your vote matters, your vote counts. And the Oneida Special School District Board race, Dorothy Watson once again returns to the school board. She'll be joined by Kevin Bird and Mark Matthews here tonight. A valiant run from Brandon Ryan, and incumbent Stuart Jones is ousted for the school board here tonight. So 6 districts in. We're just waiting on 5th districts. And then, of course, we've got these countywide races. Look here, with Winfield remaining, it's over 1,000 votes. Can you get 1,000 votes out of Winfield? It's not going to happen. Jared Jeffers is going to be your next county mayor here tonight. He defeats the incumbent Jeff Tibbles. It will just be a matter of the numbers. Now, we, of course, have extended the offer for any winners that want to come in and speak and thank folks. You're welcome to do that. We're at the county building here in Huntsville, and we'll be glad to do that. Who we got? Oh, okay, all right, yeah. So, okay, there we go. So we'll continue on. In the sheriff's race, there's Winfield to go, and Brian Keaton is your new sheriff. Brian Keaton will be the Scott County Sheriff for the next 4 years as he defeats the incumbent Ronnie Phillips here tonight. What's next? And we do have Winfield in, so everything's just going to get finalized here. Renee Irwin is going to be your county trustee. The question now is by how much, with 1 precinct left to report, as she holds nearly a 1,500 vote lead on this night. What's next? General Sessions Judge. 2,000 vote total has been broken by Scarlett Ellis, and she has expanded her lead over Andy Tillman and then Patrick Sexton and then Howard Ellis. With Winfield yet to go, it's a very safe bet. Scarlett Ellis is going to be your General Sessions Judge for the next 8 years. We're going to get the final totals in here. Look at Tiffany Jeffers. Tiffany Jeffers is going to be your assessor of property as she leads Tim Phillips by over 900 votes with Winfield yet to go. These are updating as we go through. They may pop in. We'll see. So Tiffany Jeffers is going to be your assessor of property. What's next? I'll stop saying that. I'm hitching on the what's next. Okay, so we've got your commissioners. Your commissioners are done. It's going to be the incumbents are returning. David Jeffers and David Blue Day are going to be your 1st district commissioners. Over in the 2nd district here tonight, your commissioners are going to be Joyce Keaton and by 2 votes, Taylor Buttram Stevens. 3rd district, it's going to be Sheila Buttram, the incumbent, and Amy Jeffers, the challenger, replaces incumbent Kenny Morrow. In the 4th district, Kenny Chadwell and Shonda Gray return. We know this. Then we move to the 5th district. Are these input yet? 5th district commission? We're double checking. So let's skip this and get ready. Let's go to 6th. We know this is finalized. Colby Burke, he more than doubled the votes. What was Colby's campaign tactic? People are going to study this for the next 4 years and say, I'm going to do what he did. He more than doubled the vote totals of anyone else, and he caused this narrow difference for second place that Sean Terry takes advantage of by 1 vote over Tori Slavin for the 6th District Commission. So we almost have your commission set. Let me do my check marks here. And then, of course, in the 7th District, it's going to be Jared Burke and Tom Payne. We are double checking the 5th District Commission. That's one. And then, of course, the 5th District School Board. We saw that one earlier. We're ready. We're ready for the 5th District County Commission. It's been double checked. Who's it going to be? Robin McBroom gets in there with the leading vote getting of 398 for Robin McBroom. And then in second, it's going to be Katrina Duncan. Katrina Duncan comes in second, and that is kind of she popped ahead of both Logan Strunk and Paul Strunk in that Winfield precinct. She was running, last we looked, she was running 4th, and now Katrina Duncan is going to be a county commissioner here for the 5th District in Scott County. So we have Winfield finalized. So let's go back to just get some of these. Let's go start from the beginning. I'm sorry? School Board for 5th District. Thank you. It is finalized. She was leading earlier. Angela King confirms her win here tonight. 598 votes to Richard Smith's 229. So voting is over. Totals are in. Let's recap them here on the 2022 election. We can just start at the top, if you will, Greg, and we'll start with Circuit Court Judge. McAfee gets in. Nobody challenges. Elizabeth Asbury as well. She returns as Chancellor. Those are 8-year terms. As we're continuing to check some things here. We'll go on next past Chancellor. Criminal Court Judge. Zach Walden has 1,918 votes. That's in this county. But remember, this is a 5-county vote. Graham Wilson, he decidedly takes Scott County, something he needed to do, and he executed on that here by nearly 1,700 votes, with Tabor a distant third. So Graham Wilson takes care of Scott County. What will Zach Walden do in Campbell County? And then we saw earlier that it seemed Claiborne County had done pretty well for Graham Wilson. We don't know Union. We don't know Campbell. Fentress was mixed in earlier, and it had Graham Wilson by about 800 votes at that point. Here's Leif Jeffers. He's going to be in. This is going to be an uncontested. But now we have county mayor. Scott County, you have a new mayor. It is going to be Jared Jeffers, and he wins by nearly 1,000 votes here tonight in this county mayor. And I think we're going to have our first visitor here tonight. And I think we have Renee Irwin. Are you with us, Renee?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Renee. I think folks can hear you. Look, can we go to, here's the slide. Renee, tonight you were in county trustee. You're taking over county trustee office. You're fending off with, that moved on me, Greg. I'm sorry. You fended off Justin Wright, presented a good challenge, but you had a decided win here tonight. We'll get that total back up here in just a minute. But a decided win tonight. What would you like to say to the folks of Scott County? Here it is. I mean, over 1,400 votes for you in the victory here tonight. What would you like to say?
First of all, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior, first of all. Second of all, I want to congratulate Justin.
Oh, we lost. Goodness. Okay, so hang on.
Appreciate it so much because he kept his word and I kept mine. I want to thank all Scott Countyans that helped voted for me. I appreciate y'all trusting me to be your next trustee, and I look forward to serving these next 4 years. And I've got Mr. Bird here too.
Hey, I want to thank Scott County for 24 years service. I thank you for putting your trust in Renee Irwin. She worked for me for 24 years. You couldn't got a better person, and we thank every one of you. God bless y'all.
All right, Renee. Replacing a legend. What's the most important thing? Some folks may not know what county trustee does. Some folks that are listening, what's the most important thing in your mind that you're going to bring to the office of county trustee or continue to bring to the office of
Well,
county trustee?
here's the thing. We've took pride in our 24-year service of this community to always have the latest technology and keep up with everything. The latest, we was the second in East Tennessee to have this new next gen software. I'm going to continue to grow from that, still bring quality community service to our community. I love serving this community through my work and through Rescue Squad, and I look forward to serving everybody here in the community.
All right, Renee, congratulations. Scott County spoke loudly for you tonight, and
Thank
very
you.
classy of you to mention Justin, and it was a good race. And once again,
Yes, sir.
congratulations.
Hey, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Renee. All right, again, if you want to call and thank, you're welcome to do that. And what do we have? Okay. I'm getting an alert here. We'll get that to you here in just a moment. Again, if you're a winner of one of these races and you want to call in and thank folks, and if you dare to take a question from me, I'll try to be kind. I'll be good. I'll give you an easy one. But we're looking at a potential correction that we may need to make, I think, and so we're gonna do that. Okay, we have a correction to make in 5th District. Okay, now that if you remember, it looked like a come behind, jumping a couple of places, but in the 5th District Commission race, it is confirmed here. I don't think that slide's got it actually. This is right? Okay, all right. So this doesn't look anything like the first slide, but what we have is Robin McBroom and Kelly Chitwood. Is this correct? We're going to make sure that we have this correct. We've gotten a couple of things out of order here, and we're just going to try to correct that. So we apologize to you folks in the 5th District. We're going to try to fix this, and again, many of you may know, you've probably been monitoring the numbers already. So, but I'm going to say not too bad considering. But if you're in the 5th District, you're probably not a fan of what we did. What we got? We're correct. Okay, so it is Kelly Chitwood with 398 and Robin McBroom with 314, and that is correct. You see the slide there. Our apologies for the missed call earlier, but there's a good faith effort. I promise you, we didn't mean to mess up, but hope you accept our apology, and we want to give the congratulations to Kelly Chitwood and to Robin McBroom. All right, let's continue to look at some of these races as we cycle through. Everything is final. We're waiting if any candidates want to contact us here or make a call to thank their constituents. We'll remain for just a little while, and let's just go from the top again and recap everything when we get a moment. We are on the Independent Herald Network here, and here we go. These are your totals up here in the corner. Uncontested, John McAfee, your circuit court judge. It's an 8-year term in the 8th Judicial District. Chancellor, 8th Judicial District, an 8-year term for Elizabeth Asbury. And criminal court judge, this will be an 8-year term. Now this is just the Scott County snapshot, and you see it looks very good for Graham Wilson. And so he needed Scott County to look good. He came through and he did that. But those totals will be combined in with Fentress County, Union, Claiborne, and Campbell. Campbell being the largest, and Zach Walden is a resident of Campbell. And so that's going to be something that we watch into the night. And, we've even seen it go deep into the night sometimes in some of these races. District Attorney, though, no challenge there. General Effler is going to return. He got nearly 5,000 votes here in Scott County. Leif Jeffers will return as public defender once again for the next 8 years in the 8th Judicial District. County Mayor. You have a new county mayor by nearly 1,000 votes. The challenger, Jared Jeffers, he was a 2nd District Commissioner, challenged the incumbent Jeff Tibbles, and Jared Jeffers will be your county mayor for the next 4 years here in Scott County. Assessor of property is going to be Tiffany Jeffers. It was a lot narrower most of the night, but Tiffany expanded that lead to almost 900 votes by the end of the night. So Tiffany Jeffers is your assessor of property for the next 4 years. County trustee, you heard her just a few moments ago. She complimented Justin Wright on the race that was run, and Renee Irwin is going to be your county trustee, replacing Jimmy Bird had retired, and you've heard him as well. And so Renee Irwin, you're going to be your county trustee the next 4 years. General Sessions Judge is going to be Scarlett Ellis. I don't think we've looked at these final numbers till now, but Scarlett with 2,126 votes. So in the end, nearly a 400 vote difference, just shy of 400 vote difference from the field. Scarlett Ellis is your General Sessions Judge for the next 8 years, as she will replace Jamie Cotton. Circuit Court Clerk will continue to be Donnie Phillips. He was unchallenged in the race tonight. County Clerk Felicia Bilbrey takes on a challenge from Amanda Sexton. She made a charge, but in the late districts, Felicia pulls out the win here by just shy of 600 votes. So Felicia will begin to serve her second term for Scott County as the county clerk. Register of Deeds will continue to be Ashley Risden. Nearly 6,000 courtesy votes for Miss Risden here tonight here through the election for Register of Deeds. Road Superintendent Kelvin King will continue on. There was a write-in challenge, but Kelvin King more than sufficient to overcome that. County Attorney will continue to be John Beatty. Over 5,500 courtesy votes for John. The County Commission in the 1st District, it's going to be your incumbents from the 1st District, and that's David Blue Day and David R. Jeffers. So they hold off some challengers here tonight. At one point, they were trailing a bit to Jagger Coffey in his first attempt to run, but the incumbents hold on. District 2, this is where we had a very tight race. Again, you'll look, Joyce Keaton comes out on top with the win, and Taylor Stevens with a narrow victory for second. So it will be Joyce Keaton, Taylor Stevens on the County Commission. District 3, it's going to be incumbent Sheila Buttram and newcomer Amy Jeffers on the County Commission for District 3. For District 4, they'll once again be represented by Kenny Chadwell and Shonda Gray. District 5, this is the one that we corrected just a few moments ago, and we go to the slide here as it is Kelly Chitwood and Robin McBroom that will be your representatives on the County Commission. So Kelly Chitwood and Robin McBroom are on the County Commission. And next up will be District 6. In District 6, you had the domination of Colby Burke in that County Commission race, and he will be joined by Sean Terry, and you couldn't get a slimmer margin, but Sean is in there, and he will be a county commissioner for the 6th District in Oneida. 7th District was a foregone conclusion tonight going in, but you see the load of courtesy votes for Tom Payne and Jared Burke. Continuing on, School Board, Tommy Silcox will serve the 1st District. In the 4th District, it will be, once again, Kimberly Kidd. I'm predicting. Let's see if I get that right. And then in the 5th District, it will be Angela King, who will defeat Richard Smith. Then in the 7th District, we have a newcomer, Tressa Murphy, as she ousted the incumbent Derek Sexton tonight for District 7 School Board. Here's the Oneida School Board race. Tonight it had its drama. It had the early voting. It had one precinct reporting, and then when it's all said and done, there were 3 spots available. The incumbents were Stuart Jones and Dorothy Watson. Dorothy Watson remains on the board by 2 votes over Brandon Ryan. She will be rejoined by Mark Matthews, and former Oneida principal Kevin Bird leads the voting tonight as he moves on to the Oneida Special School District School Board. That's your rundown. We're at the 10 o'clock hour. We've been going for just over a couple of hours. We're expecting perhaps some more candidates to check in with us as they're perhaps celebrating and getting ready to go. We may take a quick break real quick just for a couple of minutes, and as we get some of those on the line, we are going to be right back. We're going to continue our coverage of the 2022 election here in Scott County here on the Independent Herald Network. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Back to live coverage of the Scott County 2022 election. The election returns are all in, and we're looking forward to talking to some candidates here. We do want to explain something here, though. you'll know this is our first time doing this, and we thought we were going to be able to get through it error-free. But we do want to offer an apology to the 5th District and those running in the 5th District Commission for our error. I do want to explain what happened. 5th District, of course, has 2 precincts, and we were given 2 sheets. And this is not to cast blame. This is just to explain. It was our error, but the candidates' names were in 2 different orders on those 2 different sheets. And so when we put those totals in, it caused a jogging of the totals, and they were incorrect. And I sincerely apologize from our Independent Herald Network and all of those involved in it. I mean, this is something we did not absolutely want to happen. It did, and we'll apologize for it. We'll try to continue to do better on it. And with that said, I'm going to invite in the first of our live guests, as we're going to have the newest mayor of Scott County joining us. If you'll just saddle up on that headset there, and there's the county commission that I was talking about, the error that was made. It is correct there on the slide. Kelly Chitwood, Robin McBroom are going to be your representatives, and we regret the error on that. So, all right, now working with those 5th District Commissioners is going to be your new county mayor, and he's with us now, Jerry Jeffers. First of all, congratulations, Mr. Jeffers.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and this was a race that a lot of folks watching. You know, you have an incumbent that has served twice, and you chose to run. You were on the county commission, served with the county mayor, but you chose to run this time. I know you probably recapped this, but just for those, just a quick explanation. Why did you decide to go this time?
Well, it was just one of those things that I've always wanted to run for county mayor, and you know, it was one of those things I was kind of on the fence on what to do, and I just wound up, you know, praying about it, and I got peace about it, and you know, by the grace of God, it's been a successful campaign. And I'd like to thank, you know, Mr. Tibbles for winding up running a clean race, a clean campaign. I mean, in this day and age, that's kind of an unheard of thing. Sure. You know, I appreciate, you know, what he has done for the county to this point, and you know, I look forward to working with the new county commissioners and see where we can go from here.
So in that work, and I know, you know, it's 4 years. You've got 4 years, but you got to start somewhere. And so, what are some of the things that is priority one that you want to do that you said, if I get this, here's the first thing I want to work on?
Right. The first thing, you know, is getting right to some issues that we have with some recreational stuff, as far as some parks that need to wind up being caught up on. We got some litter issues that need to be addressed. Also looking at getting some new trash convenience centers to wind up helping. Some things that need to start working on with the sheriff, as far as, you know, getting litter crews out there more. Also work on, you know, getting better benefits for county employees to try to retain those that are there, because, you know, we lose them on a pretty regular basis. And, you know, it's just one of those things. As far as jobs, it's one of those things that nobody can ever really truly guarantee you to land some sort of major factory here. But it's one of those things that you can still put the effort and try every day and work with folks in order to do it. And there's also been some other issues that folks, you know, wind up having, you know, on different items throughout the county. But I like to wind up putting together an effort, you know, with partners, with nonprofits and others, to come together and work on some of the little problems, because it's always the little things that winds up causing the biggest problems. Right. So work on the little things, and we'll work on the big things as we go.
So now you're going to have a lot of new commissioners to work with. So first-time commissioners, but you have some folks that have been there too that you've worked with. Yes. And you mentioned working with the sheriff. You're going to have a new sheriff to work with. Mm-hmm. So in doing these things, what's it going to be like? Because now, you're going to be viewed as, you're going to lead these commissioners, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you're not in charge of them, but right. your assignment is to lead them, right?
Right. Yep. Well, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, there's always a couple of ways that a mayor can wind up running as far as their relationship with the county commission is concerned. One way is, obviously, that's been a traditional way of doing it, is a county mayor being the chairman as far as the county commission is concerned. And then also there is another way that you have management of, you know, working relationship with the county commission, and that is also that a county mayor can wind up retaining a right to veto on some things, and the chairman pro tem can wind up leading the county commission as a whole. So as we wind up going through this dance here of trying to figure out working relationships and everything, just pray for more guidance and wind up seeing in the best direction to wind up going with that.
I'm going to go back to something you mentioned earlier, jobs, and I think many people would point to that as the number one thing on folks' mind. And so, what is the major challenge for Scott County with jobs? I know there's a transportation challenge. Just not we don't have an interstate running through
Right.
Scott County, but is that the first thing, or what is the major challenge as you see it?
I'll be honest with you. Most people, when I sat down and talked to most people, jobs was not the main thing that people wanted to sit there and have a discussion with, as far as on most front porches and most phone calls. It really wasn't. I mean, they had issues concerning roads, animal control, littering, benefits for county employees, recreational opportunities. To quote one gentleman, he's like, if I am going to have to wind up commuting every day, 1 hour, one way or the other, if that is going to be my reality, then what can you do here to try to help make my life better?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, that really resonated on everybody that I stopped by and visited. I mean, it really was. I mean, because, some people wind up having the attitude of, well, we have jobs, but, if you get them, is somebody going to work them?
Right.
I mean, it's just kind of one of those things. So the resignated message from here on out is, what are you going to wind up doing to try to help make our life better?
Now, I'm not trying to speed up your life in any way, but
Sure.
but it's 2022. In
Sure.
2026, you're going to run. What is your hope to appeal to the Scott County? If you choose to run again in 2026, what are you hoping you can appeal to the folks of Scott County and say, here's why I deserve to run again? What would that look like?
Well, brother, it's one of those things. We'll worry about 4 years when
Okay.
4 year gets here. And the thing about it is, nobody is promised tomorrow.
Right.
So I'm treating this as like this is my one and only term, and I'm treating every day like it's my last one. So I mean, it's one of those. If the good Lord allows me to live 4 years, we'll visit what happens in 4 years. But till then, let's focus on now, get to work now, and push forward from here.
Now, you won solid tonight, and I'm sure there's some folks you'd like to thank and some things you'd like to say without me asking questions. You got some things you cover that. Go ahead.
Well, it's just one of those things. I'd like to thank the good Lord above for blessing me with this victory. When I ran this, I promised him that I'd wind up giving him the glory throughout this race, and I hope that I've done just that. I'd like to thank those that have voted for me and all those that have talked positive for me and been praying for me. And I'd also ask that they continue to pray, because we're going to need, guidance through some rocky roads ahead. And for those that, wind up voting for Mr. Tibbles, I hope through this time and through working together with others, I hope I can, gain their trust and confidence. And like I said, I appreciate Mr. Tibbles for running a clean race. And, it's just one of those things. I mean, it's just an exciting time, and I'm excited about getting to work.
All right, Mayor Jeffers, congratulations.
Thank
Anything
you.
else you want to share?
No, sir. I appreciate this time, and I appreciate you all for doing this.
Hey, thank you for joining us.
Yes, sir. You have
All
a
right.
great evening.
All right, your next Scott County, your Scott County next Scott County mayor. I think I was trying to say it right anyway. Jared Jeffers, in a solid victory here tonight as he defeats the incumbent Jeff Tibbles, and he lines out his vision for the next while for Scott County as he leads. And as we mentioned, he's going to be leading a lot of new commissioners tonight, but there's also some commissioners that have some experience to draw from. So we thank Mayor Jeffers for stopping by, and there you see the vote totals, nearly a 1,000 vote difference here. He had the lead out of early voting. There was never a challenge to that lead throughout the night as he gets the victory here this evening. So we're expecting a couple more folks to stop by with us, but let's just roll through some more totals in case anyone is just joining us. Everything is final. Here is your sheriff final. For the Scott County Sheriff is going to be Brian Keaton. He has 4,220 votes. Ronnie Phillips finishes with 2,595. So nearly a decade serving as sheriff for Ronnie Phillips, but Brian Keaton will be the new Scott County Sheriff heading into the rest of 2022. Assessor of Property is going to be Tiffany Jeffers. She's been serving in that role, but now she's been elected to that role by the people of Scott County. Tim Phillips finishing second with Daniel Murley a distant third. We do have some more totals on this criminal court judge, so we'll just pause here for just a moment and tell you. So we've had the Scott County totals. We have everything except Union County is what I'm seeing here. And this race has flipped to a new leader. And again, I tried to caution the expectations there that was a big possibility. Zach Walden, a Campbell County resident, has now moved into the lead. You won't see it here, so I will tell you the totals. Zach Walden, with only Union County remaining, has 11,116 votes. Graham Wilson has 9,549 votes. So roughly less than 600 votes separate the two. And I think I'm correct in saying that the smallest populated county in the 8th Judicial District is Union. And I believe it's the home to Graham Wilson. So what about that? That's where he lives, and that's where his hope resides tonight. But Zach Walden is in the lead. Is there enough vote difference in Union County? This one may go well into the night. I'm going to go ahead and apologize because we're not waiting if it goes real late. You'll just have to wake up tomorrow and find that one out. But certainly one thing for sure about this, it is a well-run race between Graham Wilson and Zach Walden. They both have put in great effort here tonight, and it shows, and all eyes are on Union County for the criminal court judge. That's an 8-year term, and that will be settled sometime later tonight. We're rolling through the totals here. If you've just joined us, some people still hanging around. I realize we're probably on the decline here tonight, but if you would hang around with us, if there's a candidate you would like to hear from, if you're a candidate that wants to talk with us, I did get a text from, I guess, a shy Tiffany Jeffers saying that she wanted to issue a word of thanks, so I will do that. Certainly, I will tell everyone that Tiffany Jeffers didn't want to join us on the air, but she does issue her thank you to you right now. So we continue to cycle through. We're about to have, if we go back a slide, Greg, let's go back to the sheriff's race because the new Scott County sheriff is about to join us by phone. He's not here live, but we're going to hear from Brian Keaton. Brian Keaton, the challenger to the incumbent Ronnie Phillips, and Brian Keaton with a very large victory here tonight, 4,220 votes to 2,595. Mr. Keaton, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Keaton, first of all, congratulations, the new Scott County Sheriff. And I will just ask you, first of all, did you expect this type of a difference in the vote coming into tonight?
I did in some ways. I mean, after talking with the county, I've been out for 5 to 6 months talking, and I think most of the county was ready for a change.
All right. Now, you have been serving in Caryville, but you're originally a Scott County resident, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I've lived in Scott County my whole life.
All right. So as you were out visiting and convincing folks, why do people change? What was your message to folks that maybe have not heard it? And there's several folks that did vote for Ronnie Phillips that become your constituents now. And what was the message that you gave that just resounded with folks to bring this type of victory?
Well, the plan when I started talking to people was from the community. They were saying law enforcement's just bad all around. Relationships with law enforcement. My goal is to build that relationship back up between the public and law enforcement. Even officers, I just want to give these guys the training to be there for them, talk to them, help them any way I can to make them a better person, better officer, and to make this county a better place. And that's my goals.
All right, sir, and you'll get started. What would you see as the day one first thing that you want to address? Is it exactly that you just mentioned, and how will you do that?
Oh, yeah. September 1st, we'll have a department meeting, and I'll set out a platform with these guys and just the way I want it, and that way they know what to expect. And I think that has to be done. You got to have structure, leadership, to let them know up front what they need to be doing.
What, if I may ask, what is your plan? Is it a complete turnover? Are you retaining? I mean, I know from living here in the past, sometimes we would have one group that was served in the county, and then they would move perhaps to the city, and then they would switch back and forth on elections. What's your plan for that?
Oh, my goal is to keep as many officers as I can and just work with them and train them and help them. There's very good officers out there right now.
All right. What would you? I've asked the questions. Now I do want to give you the opportunity for you to thank anyone you want to, or to express any thought or opinion. You've earned it tonight with this big win.
Mr. Smith, I thank y'all too for what you've done tonight. Truly blessed to have this opportunity. The amount of support I've had throughout this campaign has been more than I can imagine. Of course, I want to thank God. Without him, none of this is possible. My wife, my family, all my friends, all those that I hadn't even met who have been behind me. I can never thank them enough. And now it's time for a change to be made in Scott County. I thank Scott County for electing me as the sheriff.
All right, Mr. Keaton, congratulations on your win tonight, and congratulations on being the new Scott County Sheriff.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
All right, we have yet another candidate set to join us here tonight, and I don't know if everyone's experience was as similar to mine, but this was a race that a lot of people talked about and had opinions about and beliefs about what was going to happen. But this is Scarlett Ellis, and she is going to be your General Sessions judge here in Scott County for the next 8 years. So first of all, congratulations, Scarlett.
Thank you.
All right. What would you express to folks as the most important aspect as you become now a judge? What is the most important quality that you feel like you brought that people saw that caused them to select you as the General Sessions judge?
Well, I think they saw me, number one, as the most qualified person with my history as magistrate, and also my history of trying cases in criminal court, and additionally my years of protecting children and our vulnerable adults. And I think when they met me, they knew they could trust me. And so I'm just really excited when the numbers started coming in that the people saw in me what I could offer our county. I think my leadership abilities within our county and what all that I've been involved in, I think people were happy to see that, and that I can lead us. The next election is in 2030.
Yeah.
So excited for the next 8 years.
So I'm sure you believed, but until you really see it starting to come in, it confirms it and it gets real. What was that like?
Well, when I saw my name on the ballot, I knew I would not have that feeling again until the results came in. But what that was like for me was I knew it was possible that I could be judged, but I did not allow myself to think that it was probable or that it was likely that I would be. So as the numbers started coming in, I started realizing that this is real, and I'm going to get to start a new chapter in my career for our county. I just want to leave my county better than I found it. So I'm super excited. I'm excited for this, what my win means for the young girls in our community.
Absolutely. All right. So now you're replacing Jamie Cotton as he steps down. I say this respectfully, nobody wants to appear in your court.
Okay.
But it happens
Yeah.
To people. I mean, people find themselves there.
Mm-hmm.
What's the important quality of a judge of understanding that and factoring that in? Because nobody's hoping they get to come to Sessions Court. And so how does that play into and how you approach it?
Well, I think you have to be respectful of everybody that walks in those doors, no matter who that is, whether that's the DA, the Department of Children's Services employees, whether that's a mother, a child, or someone that's for breach of contract, or somebody that's got a speeding ticket. I think everybody deserves that same respect, and when they walk in those courtrooms, I want them to know that I will be a judge that will listen to them, but I also will be a judge that will follow the law, and not all my decisions, not everyone's going to like, but they will be based on the law, and I will make those decisions impartial, regardless of who it is that's standing before me. And I think once people get used to me, they will see that when they come to my court, that I will treat them with respect.
I just have two more questions.
Okay.
Much was made in this race about experience, but the truth is that anybody that was elected, it was their first time being elected in this. So there was just different levels of experience, and why did yours matter tonight?
Well, I think mine mattered because I am the magistrate now, and I have been for the last 7 years. I have practiced in all the courts for which I will have jurisdiction over. And I think the clients that I've helped recognize that, and their families recognize that. So I think my experience did matter. Experience does matter,
Yes.
but it matters that you're qualified for the position of which you're running. And I felt like I was the most qualified, and I think our community saw that too.
Some things that were brought out in the debates is you made a pledge that this was going to be your one and only priority. You weren't going to practice outside of this. This was going to be the job. Is that still your plan?
It absolutely is my plan. Yes, I mean,
Why is that important?
it is important because I take this job serious. To give it the time it needs, I have to be on the bench. Judge Cotton's on the bench 3 days a week. So I don't know how you could be on the bench 3 days a week and have another job and do this one well, because this one has to be my priority, because the people of our county voted me, they trusted me, and I will not let them down.
The floor is yours for anyone you'd like to thank or any words you'd like to say.
Well, I certainly want to thank everyone for coming out and voting, for myself and for the other candidates that was running this race with me. This has been a very good race, as far as we have been very cordial with each other. We appreciate each other. I have become friends with some that I might not would have been otherwise, just being with them a lot during the day. My family, I mean, wow, my family has just pulled together for me. From, my sisters, my nieces, my nephews, my aunts and uncles. So my family deserves, this victory is part of theirs. And all of the people that have encouraged me, that have given me phone calls, that have told me why they are choosing me to be their judge, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I'm probably not doing a very good job of thanking you as big as it feels to me right now, but just thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Judge Ellis.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, we continue our 2022 election coverage here with the Independent Herald. We have our new 6th District Commissioner, one of our new 6th District Commissioners, and that is Sean Terry. Sean is on the phone, and Mr. Terry, first of all, congratulations on this victory here tonight.
Thanks, sir. I appreciate that.
All right, and tell me just real quick, why did you decide to run for county commission this year?
One of the biggest reasons I was looking at it is I want to know where our tax dollars were going to, what they were being spent on, and I want to make sure that there was no misuse in those departments or misappropriation. I guess is the best way to put it.
Were you aware of something that you thought, or you're just wanting to make sure you want to be the watchdog in this situation?
The watchdog.
Yeah.
I want to be more of a watchdog, and like I said, I know we have a whole lot of stuff that we could be spending money on that possibly could be used in different areas, or the amounts to be adjusted in different areas that would maybe help out from us raising taxes at a later date.
All right, Mr. Terry, now tell me, do you know Colby Burke that you're going to be serving with? Are you familiar with Colby?
I do.
Okay, and so what about the rest of the commission? Are you familiar, or are they new to you? Do you feel like you can work with these folks? Are you like-minded, or do you know?
I believe I'm like-minded. I'm very stern in what I believe, and I think that we can do really well the next 4 years, or we're definitely give it our best.
What's something as a commissioner that you would like to see 4 years from now be the difference in Scott County from now to 2026 when you run for re-election, if you choose to do so? What's something that you hope you can say, look, we did this? What is that?
I think Jared spoke on a little bit about maybe some industry coming in. I know there's a lot of factors that plays into that, Just trying our best to better the county is going to be the best thing we can do.
All right, Sean. Now, I've got to ask you because of these vote totals, okay? So I hope you understand, but a one-vote victory here between being a commissioner and being a constituent with you and Tori Slavin, what does that say about the importance of voting?
Oh, very much.
Yeah.
Very much. One vote does count. And I do appreciate everyone that has supported me. I had a lot of people talk to me while we were going through this. It's been a lot of fun. It's been different. It's definitely been a lot different from what I'm used to.
All right, Sean. Congratulations on the victory, and best of luck in serving the next 4 years.
All right. Thank y'all.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night.
All right, that's Sean Terry, and as he moves on to the county commission from the 6th district. So I think we've got all the folks that are looking to call in and talk to you. Do we want to do one more recap of the finals? Can we do that with permission? Just for the folks that may still be hanging around. Here's your finals. This is the 8th Judicial District. John McAfee, he will return. He doesn't have a challenger. Elizabeth Asbury doesn't have a challenger. She'll return as chancellor. Criminal court judge, this was up in the air. Last we saw, Zach Walden had about, I think it's about a 1,500 vote lead somewhere in there with Union County to go. So Walden is in good position, but Wilson's going to try to make a move in Union County there. You see the Scott County totals here. Next up, district attorney is going to be Jared Effler, and then public defender is going to be Leif Jeffers. And county mayor, we talked to him tonight. Jared Jeffers will take over as county mayor with a sizable victory here tonight. Your assessor of property is going to be Tiffany Jeffers with the win here tonight. It is county trustee. You heard from Renee Irwin and her thanks to you earlier tonight. General Sessions Judge Scarlett Ellis just joined us a few moments ago, and she will be Judge Ellis for the next 8 years. Your new sheriff, Brian Keaton, called in to thank Scott Countyans for selecting him for the next 4 years to lead the sheriff's department in Scott County. Circuit Court Clerk will remain Donnie Phillips, unchallenged. Your county clerk will once again be Felicia Bilbrey. Your Register of Deeds continues to be Ashley Risden. Road Superintendent will be Kelvin King. County Attorney is John Beatty, all unopposed. Now your County Commission. In the 1st District is going to be David Blue Day and David Jeffers. In the 2nd District, we're going to have Joyce Keaton and Taylor Stevens. In the 3rd District, it will be Sheila Buttram and Amy Jeffers. In the 4th District, Kenny Chadwell, Shonda Gray unopposed. They continue on. In the 5th District, this is Kelly Chitwood, and this is also Robin McBroom, your 5th District Commissioners. In the 6th District, it is going to be Colby Burke and Sean Terry that you just heard from, and in the 7th District, it will be Jared Burke and Tom Payne. In the school board races, Tommy Silcox will be the 1st District Representative, Kimberly Kidd in the 4th District. In the 5th District, it will be Angela King, and in the 7th District, Tressa Murphy will be your new school board member. The Oneida Special School District Board of Education, Dorothy Watson retains her seat. She will be joined by returning Mark Matthews and newly minted Kevin Bird. The former principal was the leading vote getter tonight on that school board. They take 3 seats out of the 5 seats. They will join Nancy Williamson and Danny Cross. And that's your finals here tonight. We certainly thank you all for joining us as we wrap it up here this evening. We appreciate your viewership, and I strongly appreciate all those involved tonight. That includes Rachel Garrett and Melanie Garrett and Lietta Boyd and Gabe Cron just did an outstanding job providing for us. And here, the team, Kevin Akers, Ben Garrett, and Greg Bond, we couldn't have done it without each other, right? So it's a great team, and we appreciate you joining us for it. And we hope to bring you more great content. This is the Independent Herald channel. It's been the 2022 election. This is Tim Smith saying thanks for joining us, and have a great night, Scott County.